Let everything go in. Honestly, couldn't figure out another title for this live stream, so that's the one we went with. I think we're gonna do today. All right, hang on. And yes, you probably could only see the stream in 1080p because I don't know how to do it on 4K on the Pyxis. Oh, sorry, not the Pyxis, on the S12E. Oh, someone said take care. That's not. Oh, that's also not it too. Also, I want to check and see if Diego, what's going on? Or Django. Sorry, Django Fleps. It's actually such a dope name. Uncle Kofi, yeah, Uncle Kofi's still here. I haven't been speaking Chi for a couple weeks, so my accent is not as good. So we're here. Cannot complain. The Overthinker, what's up? How you doing? I'm doing fine. I just felt like streaming today. While I organize some stuff for the channel, while I also wait for customs because I bought an Ursa 12K. The Pyxis 12K comes out like in 2 weeks. But I bought one anyways a couple of days ago, and it's stuck in FedEx because customs. Oh no, we got a dislike. I don't care. Shaquille Smallwood, yeah, what's going on, boss? Calvin, what's going on? What's up? Bro, just cop the short stash every day filter, and it does keep the melanin popping. I'm actually using it right now. So like, if I rotate this just like a little bit, you'll see the highlight get back on my face, and then I'm gonna get rid of that shit. So there we go. Abandoned by our uncle. Hey, no, Uncle Kofi is still here, but I don't know if you guys know this, but Uncle Kofi is an exercise for myself as much as it is for you guys because if I don't speak Chi very often, and I don't because I'm an English speaking household. Oh, sugar. That was not part of the plan. What happened? I accidentally touched the USB cable and it died. Hang on a second. Oh, there we go. We're back. I accidentally touched the USB cable. I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, no, because I don't speak Chi as often, when I like go long periods of time, my accent sucks and also word selection sucks, and I just haven't been practicing in the last month or so, last couple months. So, what ends up happening is that shit starts to suck. No flow. It's going good, man. The title of this is really funny because it has not a ton to do with the Pyxis 12K. But also I felt like streaming. I felt like just coming on. I want to try to make this a habit. I keep being very inconsistent with live streams in terms of like days and stuff like that. But I figured if I just go live, then we just start talking. And sometimes the titles of these things end up being whatever it is. But anyways, we are pretty much kind of just seeing what happens with this whole Pyxis thing. I'm interested in it. I think it'll be really cool. King Cut, what's going on, boss? But yeah, no. So update. I have the Ursa coming on a day that I won't be in the country. I go to Utah tomorrow, and I'll be there for about a week. And also the Pyxis 12K, from what I heard, is July 30th. But I think I want to know, what are you guys working on right now? Because I mean, we are going to talk about cameras, and we always do. And I honestly just make random titles for these videos because I think they're interesting. But what are you guys working on? And also sound off what camera you're rocking, because there's only like 14 people here, so there's not really. It's more of a chill chat. So hang on one second. I'm gonna. Where it at though? It's actually a relatively quiet stream today. Or am I not scrolling down enough? But yeah, but sound off what camera you are rocking with, where you're from, what you're working on, and then we will talk about I guess camera shit. I don't know. And I just make a little thing. A heap of Fuji X100 and lighting videos. I like that. I have the. Where is it? Hang on. So some of you guys recommended Some of you guys recommended that I get a peak design strap for my GFX 50R. This, excuse me, is going to be my, that's my Fuji GFX 100. That's kind of where I'm going to park things. So I might actually have another video for that. I'm actually going to Utah to make that too. God, I just started coughing out of nowhere. I'm sorry, guys. A6700 upgrading to the Pyxis 6K soon. You're gonna enjoy that camera. I hope you're I would make a big habit of manual focusing often. But once you got that figured out, man, you'll have a lot of fun with it. It's a really cool camera. I actually just used it on a job for they don't even call them gyms anymore. They call them health clubs, the ones that are super high end and bougie and have hexagon plates, because those make sense. But I had a job there recently and I used a Pyxis for it. I actually used it instead of the S12, which is a whole separate video. I also, there's something that I'm choking on, and I think I inhaled a hair or a piece of dust, and I will cough throughout this. Starting a series on my weight loss journey because I weighed myself from 280. I'm more than that. I'm actually in okay shape at 280. I don't know why. Genetics. I'm a big person. I've been toying around with the idea of a fitness channel. I'm not gonna lie. Just something to not argue about cameras and who's a real filmmaker. Just to detach from that for 2 seconds. I thought about making a second channel, and I haven't decided if I'm gonna do it yet. Greg, thank you, man. It's still, as in this current junction in time, my Ursa is in customs at FedEx right now. Basically, Blackmagic. I guess I don't know. I guess the commercial invoicing process when you send cameras over from the US to Canada is a bit different. And FedEx is it's not complete. I'm there's a commercial invoice on the front, guys. There's an invoice on the front because I bought it, so it should be there. And they took care of the cost of the shipping stuff. So hopefully I see it before I leave, but I leave on Monday night, so I don't know. I'm thinking of changing on the Pyxis out for the S12. I'm going to start making weekly short docs for my son's high school football team. King Cut, I want to see that. I want to see that because I was just talking to the quarterback I used to play with when I was in university, and I thought about it, and I'm why do I want to make a doc series of this season of where I used to go to school, and I didn't know who to ask for that, and he actually pointed me the right direction. If you start doing that, that'd be dope. Mind you, I played football. I was 5'11", 225 when I played. Hey, I was 6 foot 250, I think, and I was in reasonable shape. I am far more heavier than that now, which I should probably work better. I should work on more often to get back down to. So rocking the S5 2X, trying to stay within the L-mount alliance, and I was talking to B&H today, and they told me July 30th, so I posted an update because literally no information. NovaFlow, I think I saw that on the Facebook group, on the Pyxis Facebook group, and I really hope that's going to be the date, and there's a 30-70 chance I might get a PR copy from Blackmagic. If not, I'm just going to buy one, but I think where and I want to call it a work combo because I think eventually we're going to talk about whether or not I even want to freelance anymore, because I kind of, in my soul, I don't care about freelance clients anymore, but I still want to be able to use these cameras to make my own stuff. I kind of want to use those two as a 1-2 punch, which I think would be really cool, especially when eventually, hopefully, the Pyxis 12K gets autofocus. DP here from the Caribbean. I'm about to pre-order the Pyxis 12K. Can't wait. Yeah. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good, and I think we've hit the apex of how good cameras can be. They're so good now that being able to get a Pyxis 12K, which depending on which year you buy it, which isn't going to be immediate, is going to have some form of autofocus with that L mount sensor, with the ability to do all the things that it does for that price point. Even when it went up by $500, that's such a good variety, or such a good steal. I've used a variety of Lumix cams, but do have access to Blackmagic design cams. I don't know how this happened. I still have this guy, A7C2. It's got it in 2023. Use it a bunch. Never made a video about it. Use it a ton of times. I don't know where it fits, and it'll just kind of stay in my house. But the the Lumix to Blackmagic combination pipeline that's happened recently, just in work that like the few jobs that I have taken on this year, and then just also just doing YouTube and stuff, has been really, really cool. Cause it like, I almost feel a little bit jaded that people didn't tell me that this existed before, because I would have probably made different decisions back then. I'm holding on to the FX3 and bought a 50 millimeter f1.4 GM for it. Hey, that's actually that's a really nice combo too. I had the 1.2, and I honestly probably should have just got the 1.4, because I didn't shoot at 1.2 that much, and like it's not that much sharper than the 1.4, at least in my opinion, to my eye. Like I didn't care that much. So I'm excited about the Pyxis 12K, but I think I'm gonna buy the C400 or C500 Mark II because of the reliability and the service. I love Blackmagic, but I gotta improve the camera servicing. Django Phelps, where do you live that like where you have to send things back and forth? Typically for me, like, and I guess it's also like a privileged position, obviously, is if something goes wrong, I just ask Blackmagic to fix it, and then it may or may not get fixed. But yeah, I could definitely say that like if you're somewhere where like you need the security of being able to like send stuff out and get taken care of, I hope they improve on that, which it sounds like they have in a little bit, like the last little bit of time. It sounds like they have, but we'll see. That's yet to be seen. Then again, there's not as many people with either of these cameras enough to be like, I've run into a gigantic issue. So, do you use manual lenses on the Fuji? No, I only have this 50 millimeter. This is the autofocus, and I mean Fuji's autofocus isn't that great, especially in the older cameras. This is the 50 millimeter f3.5, which is kind of like a 2.5 or an f2.8 on the 50R. But that's the only lens I have. It's the only one I use. What up, Brett? I just shot a feature on my FX3 24-70 first edition. Hey, get it how you live it, bro. Also, that's congratulations finishing a feature. I've come to realize in the expansion of like doing YouTube and stuff that like I want to do, I don't know if I care about doing narrative. I don't know if I care. Because when I started doing YouTube and I was working with athletes, and like I worked with a company that a lot of the people you would work with are famous MMA fighters or wrestlers or NFL athletes and stuff. And I don't think I ever had it. Like I had an inclination for like doing like short doc projects and like branded docs and branded commercials. I don't know. And maybe it still hasn't happened for me. And some people were like, hey, it'll happen for you eventually. I don't have like a deep seated inclination for narrative. And I don't know why. Perhaps it's just not my jam. I don't know if that makes you less or more of a filmmaker, but it's just that I'll get into later. Health clubs. Yeah, that's what they call them. Health clubs are just gym memberships with a 3 times the price, and they have a sauna, but they pay well. So I'm shooting 6-part series for a private dinner club. One of the episodes is going to host different chefs ranging from TV chefs to beginners to Michelin star chefs. That's so sick. I want to shoot food so badly. I was working with one of my buddies as a director, and we're trying to work with a local doc space. We're trying to do a doc with a local spot right by his boxing gym. But that's so sick. Definitely thought about doing a lifestyle channel / vlog. Mario, I think what I'm going to do for like this channel is I think that's going to be here, because, and you guys let me know if this is something that'll bother you or anything like that, but I kind of don't want to keep making content to reassert the idea that like I know what I'm talking about in professional filmmaking. Like I don't care that much anymore, and it's just become like a race to nowhere. The infighting is just, I don't want to be part of it. I don't care. I might just make, especially these Ursa videos, like they might actually feel like vlogs while still giving you information. And I think that's where I want to go with this. Like I don't necessarily, because like the lifestyle stuff heavily involves this stuff. So why make them separate and then have to like do a lifestyle thing where I should be filming for something else, or like maybe I just want to like practice composition for a day, and that could just be like the lifestyle vlog. And then there might be vlog elements like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym, then pack my camera in the car, and then go out and do the things I need to do. I think I want to kind of approach it from that end. But let me know if that, like, does that lessen the information if there's vlog aspects in some of these titles? For example, the first video I'm going to do is like obviously why I bought the Ursa Cine 12K. But in the aspect of that, I'm looking for compositions to make like a demo reel for the Ursa 12K, so I could test it out, put it through its paces, and then that also goes into something with channel memberships a bit later. But But yeah, you let me know if that takes away or that adds the information. If you don't want any of that stuff in the middle and you just want, I came here for memory cards, tell me the memory card, or introducing a little bit of lifestyle and personality would help. Can I buy your Angel Bird? No, Invisible Adversary. I can't do that because I now have 1, 2, 3. I have Angel Bird Type A. No, they're gone already, bro. I got rid of all of them. They're all gone. Top 3 reasons why you chose Ursa Cine LF. 1, built-in NDs. I have been gaslighting myself. I've been living a lie and telling myself that I don't need built-in NDs. That's not the best way to go about it, because there's situations where I'm like, yeah, I could have used a built-in ND here if I didn't have to change them out. Like, it makes things easier. 2 was image. I actually rented this camera from Blackmagic 3 times for 3 different projects. 1 I put up on the channel, and that was with Trish Stratus. Image quality is just absolutely unreal. And one of the things is that, like, if it was still the same price with like the whole package at like, I think it's like 22 grand Canadian, would have never bought it. Would have never thought twice about it, and kind of went about my day. But when the body only price came down, I was like, okay, that's not too dissimilar. That's actually cheaper than a Komodo X, which I had purchased before. And I think arguably, I think it's cheaper than an FX6 right now. So that was it. And I think the third reason is image quality, built-in NDs, and then just like a camera where the opportunities for renting it has been very, very high. There's 9 rental shops in the city of Toronto, and a lot of people bought Ursa 17 and 12Ks. So the idea for that is that if, like, say I'm not working, and I'm like, to be real, I've turned down a lot of freelance stuff because like I don't care. And I want to shoot my own stuff and focus on like doing my thing instead of running this rat race that I actually don't want to be part of anymore. If I'm not using it, then I'll rent it, and it rents out currently right now. An Ursa Cine 12K package rents out at almost $1,000 Canadian. So worst case scenario, I'm shooting a bunch of stuff. You guys will see a bunch of content and mini docs and footage dumps and all the other stuff. Worst case scenario, it's renting out for $1,000 a day. So that's why I ended up getting it. Also, I'm looking at a couple different cameras: Pyxis 12K, Red KX, C400, and keeping an eye on Sony drops an FX9 Mark II. All of those, like, here's the thing: we're gonna get, by the end of this year, I hope we all have like a sub $10,000 ENG kind of cinema camera style, and they're all so different. Like, we're gonna have the Eterna, and that's gonna have its own things. Obviously, the Ursa Cine LF has its own things. I would love an FX9 Mark II just to see what they do. Like, I don't think I'll buy one. I probably will fool around with one because I still work with Sony Canada quite a bit. I just want to see. I want to know what, like, everyone's kind of taking their brands and like doubling down on things that they're really good at. I don't know if Nikon's figured that out yet, outside of Nikon's thing being we own Red, which, I mean, that's cool. But like, I guess Red's is like global shutter, and then you have like the Ursa that has the sensor tech, and then Sony has autofocus. I kind of want to see what happens by the end of the year. Not that I think I'm going to buy another camera of like an Ursa 12K kind of size, but it'll be cool. My big homie filmed football teams season junior year, and they just got me into filmmaking. See how dope it turned out. Yeah, man. Right now, kind of how things are going, and this is kind of where like I want to take stuff is I want to almost get rid of freelance work and get things to a point where if there is an offering or something like that, or like you're working on a brand deal, or you have digital products, or you have channel memberships, which is a new thing that I'm starting up, I can use that to just make stuff I feel like making. And then I don't have, because there's been so many times where like I've missed an opportunity because of a freelance project, or something else has come up because of that. And then it just becomes draining where I'm like, well, I'm working 1, 2, 3 job, travel the next day to do either YouTube stuff or expo stuff or work stuff, and then come back home and then try to get on. Like, it's too much. And one of them has to go, and that's the one. But one of those, I do want to shoot a football team at one point. Is it just me, or I don't care about Panasonic until internal NDs are implemented? Then you're going to not care for a long time, because I do not think you're going to see that in the mirrorless camera anytime soon. And if they are, it's going to be so expensive. They'll charge you out the eyes for it, because no one's going to make a cheap, high quality, high resolution, open gate, whatever camera, put built-in NDs and make it sub $7,000. It won't exist. Think about it this way: like the A12 is $6,500 now and doesn't have built-in NDs. No one's going to make a camera that's going to be, and at that point, you may as well just buy an FX6 or an Ursa Mini, or like you may as well buy something else with built-in NDs. at that point, because the price point will get too high to be able to do it. 1 month of Ursa 12K ownership. The sensor makes you feel like you can do anything. OG, super slow motion, open gate, sorry, super slow motion, extreme situations. I've used Ari before. It's the same feeling. Thomas, don't tell me that, because this box that has mine in it delivers the day after I've left to Utah. And I only will be able to open said box when I come back next Sunday night. And FedEx, I don't think is open on Sunday. So it's next Monday morning. So I have to wait 9 days for a camera that I ordered 2 weeks ago. And I've watched every single Ursa 12K LF video on YouTube. I literally put it in the search bar and I watch all of them. All of them have the red bar all the way across. That hurt my feelings. I'm joking. Go Griffins, yeah. Oh yeah, Greg, I forgot you're from Guelph. You went to school there. I'm trying to reach out to Stu Lang to see if I can maybe shoot a season for the team. It might be next season, though. I don't think it'll be this one. It's too close. Camp is like 2 weeks away. Visible adversary. Everyone has needs. I've grown to not be a fan of internal NDs because even though they create convenience, they also have problems with shimming. That's fair and true. Oh, sidebar though. Ursa Cine mounts come pre-shimmed. I found that out because I watched CVP's video like 4 times. What are your thoughts on the FX6 now that you have been around the block? The exact same place. The FX6 is still one of the best cameras for the price point that doesn't have a competitor in that realm. There isn't another camera that has autofocus, that like it has a great sensor, that's small enough that you could you have it stripped down with a built-in audio handle, which I'm not a fan of the built-in audio handle. I don't like it. I've been vocal about it. And still has a lot of video tools in it. It's the only, like, the C400 is your next best bet, I would get. I don't like the C80. I used it. Form factor is not for me. So I couldn't necessarily, like, I'm not going to recommend something I don't like myself. Or, I mean, if you like the C80, perfect. Your closest bet outside of that, though, is a C400, and that's $1,000 more. So I would say with the FX6, it's in the exact same spot. It's still a great camera to get, and I wouldn't dissuade anybody from getting it unless you get really, really annoyed by the audio top handle, which I did. It ate away at my soul, and I sold it. On the note of internal NDs, it's not always key. Most cameras that have them suck at high stops. Good NDs, yeah. Sex at 1.8, like the Venice One. Thomas, that's good to know. I have a bunch of hard stops on me, and they're IR cut as well. And I think there's a little bit of IR, like not a ton, on the Ursa 12K. So, what Thomas said, yes. A reminder to make this video, the Sigma I series lenses, like you said you will. I did, although I did put them back in the case. I haven't found time. I also have very much considered maybe making like a separate photography channel because I like my GFXs, and some of these like smaller cameras, it always gets a bit confusing for me, even like just scheduling videos where I have like, I'll do a GFX video this month that I'll also have one about like the Blackmagic, but like I also have Sony cameras and there's Lumix stuff everywhere. I need some sort of way of organizing it in a way that won't drive me crazy, and I haven't figured that out yet. So Central, that's still on the way. They're still here. There's like a case right there. I just haven't got around to it. I live in North California. Hey, let's go. Django. Hey, mate, nice video about the Nisi Aureus lenses. Thank you. That video got like, I mean, they're expensive lenses, and not many people know that Nisi makes lenses, and at least the Aureus is, in fact. So it didn't get as many views as I thought it would, but I think if I leave it there and I just like let it sit for a bit, it might catch on, kind of maybe later on in a couple months. But it was a fun video. But also, I may or may not get my own set next week, which I could pair with the 12K, and that'll just kind of be my permanent set for the next little while. I just had a final showing of a feature I DP'd in a theater, and it looked great, shot on the GH6 and the original S5. That's awesome. And also, like, when you have things on a big screen, like, it's very, I think sometimes we kind of overcomplicate on resolution and stuff like that, because, like, if you guys have ever watched any of Mark Bone's content, he had a ASD documentary, and it was shot on the FX9. I helped out like a little bit near the end of it. And when we saw it on the screen, I'm like, you would never care if it was like 4K, 6 down sampled or whatever. It just looked good. Which, I mean, people are going to go into, you don't need 12K. And I'm like, watch Team 2 films. They'll explain to you about how that 12K sensor works. But that's great. And also like great for people that love doing features. I'm starting to realize it's not for me. And there's another way of filmmaking that I want to pursue, and it maybe isn't that. But I also appreciate and respect a lot of people that can go through that, because doing a feature is a lot of work and a lot of resources. Narrative is what I love. I shot my first one with my FX30. I'm hooked. I want to get better each time I do one. See, that's what I feel like when like I work with, and I've like when I work with athletes and stuff like that, but not in a narrative standpoint. So like, one of the things that it still keeps me up at night is like the Keon Coleman shoot that we did with the Pyxis. It looked cool. There was a couple of cool shots in there, but like there were so many things that I could have done better that I really, really wanted to do, and we just didn't have the time or the money. And those are like the same way you feel about wanting to do better at narrative is the same way I feel about like commercials working with pro athletes. Cause that was kind of what I wanted to do before learning that cameras exist. So kind of the same thing. And I think that's where I want to park it, but also narrative is cool. Short films are cool. On Kofi is streaming. Let's go. Yeah. What's going on, Adam? So all these heat talk on these new cameras and finding it fascinating. CFexpress cards run so hot, even just idling at much higher temperatures than SD when processing same data. Weird. Yeah, they do. They're like meteors, man. Like even on the Pyxis, and I never acknowledged it because it never stopped anything. If you run your, like if I have the 6K, when we ran 2 memory cards out of it, it gets so hot that you just accept that it's a kind of tiny meteor in your hand when you take the card out. But because it didn't stop anything, you're like, it's hot, cool. Put it in the case. Let me go back that up. I don't even think about it. But when a camera overheats, which mine still hasn't, I still haven't. That's why I haven't made an overheating video, because outside of doing like tests that I would never do in real life or situations I've never been in real life, I don't do overheating tests anyways, but like it hasn't happened in regular use. So that's why I haven't heard much from me. But that's happened for everything. The A7 IV I had for a long time overheated. This camera famously overheated on Brandon Washington's live stream, and it was like the second episode he ever did. And my camera overheated midway through the stream. I've always just, I don't know, since the R5, since the A7 III. The A7 III overheated if you shot in 4K 8-bit. So it's annoying. It's annoying that the fault point is a CFexpress card, not the camera itself, but what you write memory to, which also is kind of a silver lining, because then you could just change up if you want everything else the camera offers, but then you also don't want to have to deal with some of those other things, and then just accommodate for them for that time being, have that in your bag, and then when you don't need it, you don't need it. Hey, congrats on doing YouTube full time, living the dream. Some people disagree with me doing it full time as living the dream. But it's been almost a year, but it'll probably be about a year, like in November, of doing this thing full time. I still like, it's weird. People will full time freelance, part time YouTube. I'm like the opposite, where I full time YouTube and part time freelance. How do you feel about the breakthrough VNDs versus the Mofage Poco? Shaq, ask me that in like 2 weeks, because I get a Mofage when I get back certifiably, probably. But I haven't used breakthrough VNDs yet. So I might have to try to get my hands on them before I have an opinion, or I'll just sound like an idiot. Also, for one of these new Lumix cams, when it comes to heat, when you aren't using it, turning it off is better than letting the fan run, from what I've seen. I'm going to ask a really ignorant question. When you guys aren't using your camera, say you're working on a job or whatever, maybe not in a commercial setting, because sometimes you have to keep the camera on, and usually that's like hooked up to certain things. But if you're doing like event stuff and you don't need your camera for the next like 10 minutes, do you guys leave it on or do you turn it off? Mine's set to sleep, so it's just, I'm not using it. I just put it to sleep. But I typically do. I don't know. Maybe it's because there's been cameras that have overheated that I've owned way before the S1 II, but that sounds normal to me. Yeah, fast cards means more heat generated. Yep. After Pix 12K, I'm done. The camera rat race, just gonna do with lights, lenses. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the Ursa 12K, to be honest. Like the Ursa and the Pyxis, like once that comes out, any other camera you see on my channel, I want you to understand that those are like one video and that's it. And it's one video because I'm like, this will be fun to play with for like a couple days, and then I'm going back to regular scheduled programming. I don't know if there's a thing that I would want from a new camera in the cinema camera market that I would remotely care about enough to use more than just making the one video to explore, and then that's it. Like when FX6 Mark II comes out, I think that's the only thing where like I've said it more than once, where I'm like, on principle, because I said I was going to, like I probably would buy it. I think that also I need the finances to be able to make such ridiculous bets. But I don't know. After this new crop of cameras, like even these guys with all things considered, flaws and all with overheating and stuff, like I'm not really, I don't care. And I mean, I guess the only thing that'll be of interest is like an A7 IV, just to see what it does. Like at this point, it's just, what does it do? Cool, move on. But yeah, I don't think I'm necessarily going to try to buy anything else for a long time. I get that it's hard, but for a simple guy like me, I understand why they're running so fast just to offload the car in 1.5 seconds. Yeah, that's a CFexpress thing, man. I don't even know. The CFexpress thing is a little bit more complex. And also, I think some of the materials they make the cards out of can get really, really, really hot. And that's also like kind of a fault of like us always wanting more from cameras and us wanting more from like media and stuff, is that they'll try to make things as quickly as possible to accommodate for those needs. And then when it happens, the double-edged sword is that, we're impatient and we want things and we want them cheap and we want them now. And somehow the consequences that you have really hot cards. Markman, that makes total sense. Also, I hope no one said that you can't make good things on the Z6 III and Z8. Because they're everything's a good tool. I think everything at this point, like if you guys are watching videos to find out which the best camera is, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. I think watch it just for the like what that person's doing, or just for like topical information. Because like there's things like there's no bad camera. There hasn't been for a long time. So when like if an embargo comes out for like the Z5 II or something like that, something I'll never buy, I'm like, oh cool. That's awesome that like someone's going to enjoy that, right? And I think a lot of these videos coming out, like it's surface level, but in the means of like, oh, that's a piece of technology. Now I know what it does. I still have the things that I have, and I can keep going, but that's going to be cool for somebody. Yeah, Lumix internal ND is crazy, but a super double, it's under 7K, but 5500 maybe 6. If it's a mirrorless camera with built-in NDs, absolutely won't be. And the first ones, no. From a business standpoint, it wouldn't make any sense. Like if I was a business and my S1 II is what, 3,400. If I'm the first one to put built-in NDs in a mirrorless camera, I'm charging you out the nose. Because where else are you gonna go? They're running fast because it needs to run fast to shoot high data, high res. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just that like when you put that into a small body, when it's not in like something like a Pyxis or an Ursa 12K or a Red Komodo, it's hard for it to find where to put the heat. Shadowbee prices or using it as an excuse. Yeah, that's a good, like I think also Lumix's prices were like pre-tariffed out. So like they already figured out the tariff stuff beforehand. I think that was a really like timing thing that they had to do to be able to do that. But yeah, shout out to Lumix for not making their cameras like $5,000. Thomas, you've missed absolutely nothing. We're just talking crap, talking Blackmagic Pyxis, and talking about my realization that like I don't think I care about narrative work, and I want to shoot docs with athletes and things that I find interesting, certifiably forever. I thought I would care a lot more about narrative than I do, and I don't. And I think maybe I pay too much attention to what other filmmakers' goals were and then try to adopt them as my own, and then made that part of my personality, and realizing that it's not, and it's not conducive to anything. Red, they actually have, the S1 II is more expensive than the original S1 came out. They eventually will, if you actually look around, even Lumix raised prices. Some of those raised based on inflation, not necessarily tariffs. So the tariff pricing right now, it would take everyone, like I think the only way that would happen is all the new stuff coming in. So what I mean by it being a timing thing is that I think they got a lot of their stock in before the increases. So it would probably, if it is going to happen, it'll be on any of like the new stock if everything else is sold out. How much they've moved into America before that, I have no idea. So it might, even if it happens, by the time it does happen, hopefully, I'm assuming if you're a good project manager, that they've put in so much stock in the United States that if the tariffs kind of adjust or aren't as bad in future months, the stock in America is still there where they didn't have to charge it in the first place. Hopefully, which would be a great which would be a great marketing chip for them too. I was wondering what your thoughts on the B-roll coming out of the FX6. I didn't know the name. It's not out yet. The B-roll coming out of the FX6 hasn't come out. That update's not till what's July? I think it's like 3 months almost. It's going to be a while before it comes out, I think. Does it change anything? Yeah, I don't know. The B-raw coming out of the FX, I don't think that update's come out yet. What's the best sub-K lens set to pair with the Cine or Pyxis in your opinion? Depends on what you're looking for, man. Also, you just watched the Aureus video. You just saw it. I'm gonna get the Aureus lenses, and for one reason, and it's just they're smaller than the Arles Primes. That's all. And they look very like the size difference to look is enough to make it make sense for me to just get the Aureus Primes. Because between the Aureus and the Arles Primes, I have to like zoom in on bokeh to like tell the difference. But what I do like, outside of that stupid little donut thing, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't like the little donut thing. You need like a 90 to a 95, because it's a outside ring that doesn't exist for anything else but those lenses. Excuse me. But I would say I'm a big fan of the Aureus Primes. I think they're gonna be a nice clean set that I could rock with. And I'm talking sphericals, like anamorphics. I'm probably gonna say the Blazar Remus. I don't know if I want to do 2X's. And 1.33 on an open gate sensor with 12K is a little bit, I don't necessarily think I'm going to get that much out of it if I use the Mantises. Or actually, maybe the Mantises would be good. But I would say probably the Nisi Aureus's. At least those are the ones I'm getting. Slight delay in the Pyxis orders is to do with internal temps, apparently. The Cine 12K loves to melt glue onto my cards a little. Can only imagine it on a smaller body. Yeah, so I heard about that even with the original Pyxis. So like, yeah, they're pumping out so much that they have to make sure their heat management is on point. And it wasn't even like they had problems beforehand, but they're like, hey, this is a new system. We can't afford to screw this one up. So it has to be like spot on. So I think what they're doing with Blackmagic and delaying things, like if it means that they're going to prevent problems from happening in the future and it takes them longer to do it, I think it's fine. Yeah, 1.2, the air pollution is big in hard sun. Like the sky's a weird blue tint too. I posted a post about it in the BM forums like an hour ago. Look at that. Okay. Which BM group is it? With your different cameras, could you make a playlist like you did for the FX30? Actually, Groovy Foo, what I did this morning, and this is at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I don't know why I did it at 4 o'clock in the morning. If you go to playlists on my channel right now, which I still can't share screens, and I don't know why, I recatalogued a bunch of videos that I had into playlists. So the FX2, just because I made 2 videos on it, it deserved to be on the playlist, I guess. FX2, 36.3 are all on one playlist now. So, and they're all long form videos too. So there's like 100 videos on the whole FX line because they're all very similar and bleed into each other. I have one for the Pyxis 6K and 12K. One for the Ursa Cine 12K, which is going to be a lot, and then Fuji GFX photography, because I think the only Fuji videos I'm going to do are with the GFX systems. And then I have one for the Lumix S12, S1R2, S12E, and then I have stuff on lighting breakdowns because we have a lighting breakdown tomorrow. I'm going to try my best to make sure I stay on point and do one every Monday. Then I have one for lens reviews, and then and like tips and stuff like that. So I've organized things a little bit differently now, so you could find everything. What's your opinion on the new Zoom H5 Studio with 32-bit float? I've never used it. I have a Zoom H4 somewhere in this room, and I haven't touched it in like 2 years. Because preamps and cameras got better, and I didn't need them anymore. I'm gonna see what SD cards. I'm gonna see what SD cards like they haven't on the Nintendo Switch will do to cameras. Ooh, yeah. Or if like, I guess you couldn't put in like a micro SD card and just leave it in the camera. I don't think it's enough to accommodate heat if you make the SD card smaller. Have I met Gary Scaife in person? Yes, I have actually. I met him in Norway earlier this year. Really cool guy. I met Gary. I met Ed. I met Josh. I met all the European guys. We all met up in Norway when the S1R2 came out. I know sometimes this journey of filmmaking, you're uncertain if this is what you want to be doing for you. What was the point where it clicked? Where it clicked that is what you want? Adam, can you write that again? Because I don't know. Maybe I can't read today, which is very plausible. Heard you beautiful bastard. Love the channel. Keep up the wonderful work. Just dropping to say that. Got to get back to work. Hey, Erwick, respects, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Do you have Nisi, Athena, and Aureus lenses with you to see the size difference? Thank you. No, the set of Aureus lenses that I had, I sent back already. There's a chance that I might get them again in Utah. But whenever I get them when I come home, I could do it again. I could do that again on stream. Because I'll do it like when I finish kitting out the Ursa. Hang on a second. Let's get my autofocus back on. There you go. When I finish kitting out the Ursa, I'll probably do another stream and kind of go through that. But yeah, I will do that when I get back on stream. There is a noticeable size difference between the two, but it's the difference between the Athenas and the Aureus primes aren't nearly as big as the difference between the Aureus and the Dizito Aurus primes. Like the Dizito Aurus primes make the Nisi Aureus look like Nisi Athenas, if that makes any sense. Have you ever been to the Toronto International Film Festival? I live like 10 minutes away from it. So yeah, I've been there a couple times. I actually got to shoot some stuff for Viola Davis when Woman King came out during TIFF, because I premiered it here. Thomas, what batteries will you run on the Ursa? See, this is where things get funny, because I have got most of my accessories before I got the camera. But I got this guy. So I got a couple of the Core Helix 150s. I have two 150s, one Core 9. One Helix 9, which I didn't know the 9 stood for 98 watt. And I'm like, well, these guys aren't, like, they're not that, like, they're almost the same size. Like, these guys are almost the same size. But one's 98 watt, one is 150. And then also, shout out to Core SWS. They sent these to me last week. I also got a shark fin, and it's, yes, for battery life, but I also have an Amazon Easy Rig. If you guys know about the Flycam Flow line, if you know, you know, don't want to spend $6,000 on a Easy Rig Vario 5. So I have that, but the minimum weight is so friggin' high that even when I put on the Ursa Cine 12K Digital Aurus Prime with a matte box, it wasn't heavy enough to weigh the Easy Rig down. So what I have to do if I'm going to do Easy Rig work is I got a shark fin, these two, and it's going to look so overkill. It's going to look ridiculous, because I'll be shooting like mini docs with boxers on this contraption. But I got to do this and put this at the back of the Ursa to like weigh it down. So on the Easy Rig that I do have, it's enough there. It's a really cheap Easy Rig, but the minimum weight is incredibly high. Do you feel like the culture is moving towards 6K super fast or 4K sticking around for another 5 to 7 years realistically? I think cameras are going to move into 6K very quickly, but I don't think the expectations on the screen you put it on is going to. I think what 6K is going to do is that a lot of people are going to have like downsampled videos. So you're going to see like 6K downsampled to 4K a ton, where it's going to give you a little bit more detail, give you a little more like, and that's kind of going to be where things are. And also, in order to sometimes get different bit rates or things that you want to get out of the camera, you might have to start at 6K and work your way down, and starting at 4K and working your way down. So that's one of my favorite things about cameras. There isn't just one thing to do with them. You don't have to do narrative filmmaking. There's so many other options. That's, yeah. And I'm 1000% on there. And it was funny because like, I would talk to other people that would like watch the channel and stuff, and they're like wondering about like if I have any inclinations to do narrative, and I'm like, honestly, no. I want to be really, really good at doing like brand films with people that can do things that I can't do. I really want to be good at that. And I think in the last like 6 months, and also like the last 6 months, because I just haven't been home, I like haven't been doing that, because I felt like, I'm like, well, you have to do a short film, and like you have to start writing and doing all this other stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to be a damn writer. I want to take somebody else's script and then put it in my brain and then spit out images that look good and like that language makes sense. Like that's what I want to do. What is this stuff about? I have to be writing now to be a filmmaker. This is ridiculous. And there were so many like things that were kind of just put in the way that I didn't used to care about that I care about now or cared about now. And it screwed up the whole thing. And yes, absolutely to that. You don't necessarily need to do narrative films to be a filmmaker. You could do so many other things, especially because the barrier of entry is like paper thin now. Invisible Adversary, it all comes down to delivery right now. There's no visible difference between 4K monitor or an 8K unless you're watching IMAX size screens. Yes, and even on IMAX size screens, like you could still pull off doing things that are lower, not low resolution, but like you don't have to necessarily shoot 8K. Because I'm pretty sure I saw The Creator in IMAX. I'm pretty sure I did. I don't remember, but if I did, it was shot on the FX3. So I mean, if that's any barometer of what you can put on that screen, then also like there's not many IMAX studios. There's not many IMAX studios around. There's like 2 in Canada, 2 in Toronto, maybe. 6K is so useful for slight cropping and vertical uses, priceless. 6K Open Gate is excellent. 6K Open Gate has made me a lot of money in 2024, 23, when I had more freelance clients. Do you think Blackmagic, the Blackmagic Pro is underrated? It's internally used and get it for 2K used. I don't think it's underrated. I think it's properly rated. People love that thing. I don't think there's any problems with it at all. I think what ends up happening is that as technology moves, like people just move with it. And I don't think it's underrated. I think it's a good deal. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to run the Super 35 and you want that, absolutely go for it. Built-in NDs on the Blackmagic camera is always nice. Built-in NDs in general, nice. Still Team Otis over Nisis and Arliss here. I never got into the Zeiss Otis lenses because I looked at Zeiss pricing and I said, absolutely not. Too much camera equipment available, too little budget. It's kind of why I like making YouTube videos, because like doing stuff with Arliss, which was really cool. And this is a cool story about maybe sometimes brands actually care about like what you're doing and not necessarily your subscriber count. But Arliss is one of the bigger sponsors, I'd say, for like a lot of camera YouTubers, most of them really. If anyone's doing an Arliss deal, like they're probably doing pretty well. When I re-signed with Arliss, like they were just kind of honest with me, because I was like, hey, like I don't know if I converted that much as I did in the last year's contract. Like, what were kind of the things that helped re-sign me this year, and like you could improve on them. And one of the things they said, they were like, hey, we like you and you're doing cool stuff, so like we want to be part of that process. So yeah, there's conversions and there's money involved, but also like the brand recognition that like other people like you and we like you, like that's part of it. And being able to work with companies like Arliss or other brands, you could just start making your own stuff, which is really cool. So even like, yes, there's too little budget. And I mean, budgets for a lot of projects, especially in the city, are fractions of what they were back in the day. And back in the day, I mean like 2023. Yeah, you could just supplement that by doing other things, which is why we're here. Best editing software. If you're new to it, who's developed the best software? I'm going to still say Resolve. Just get the free one. Hey Kofi, I'm sorry I'm late to the party. What did I miss? You missed nothing except for the Pyxis is more than likely end of this month, which is really cool because we're at like the middle of this month. So like if you pre-ordered it like early, might see it in 2 weeks. Pyxis in hand. I do actually have the Pyxis 12K in hand. I'm hanging over here because I never made it to any of the trade shows, and your opinion speaks volumes. Hang on. Oh, do I actually have the Pyxis in hand? I don't yet. I know some people thought I did. I don't. I will have I'll have an Ursa 12K next weekend, but the Pyxis 12K I don't have yet. I think even if we end up doing like a PR deal with Blackmagic, like I think we'll get it after everybody gets their pre-orders, like they did with the Pyxis. Which I should have just ordered it and then just canceled it if something else came up. But yeah, I don't have it in my hand, not yet. Cinematography, Ursa Cine 12K LF. Oh, okay. Oh, the Blackmagic forum. I was looking at Facebook group. Sorry. Yeah, anyway, you're in for a world. The extra DR is hard to explain, but you could shoot like, man. Thomas is he's on point, because when I used the Ursa and like I did a testing day before I brought it to a shoot, and I think I posted it in like a first impressions Ursa video. But like we were shooting in an all white room. It was middle of winter, dark as hell inside. Windows are blown out, and I'm like, let me see if I could pull this back. And you could see like the leaves in the background outside the window, and I was like, all right. And also just like Blackmagic has really good Skin tones, which is a big thing that if I don't like the skin tones out of a camera, I'm very unlikely to use it. If you're starting from zero with your business, would you get a cinema camera or a hybrid? In 2025, I'd get a cinema camera because I don't like, for me personally, I don't think photo jobs are as busy as they used to be. And I think photography on like the mid tier lower end is kind of, I don't know. I don't know how it's doing right now. But when I started off on hybrid cameras and I was just doing stuff you couldn't tell me shit on that A7 III. But I think if it was in 2025 now, I'd get like a more dedicated video camera and start with video right away. Because I very quickly learned that like video pays more than photo jobs per capita. And I'd start that, and then I would start video and work my way backwards to photo, and then get a photo camera and like just add that on later on. Sorry, somebody named Adam, I think, liked something on Facebook on my phone and it lit up, but then I also read Adam's comment. Okay, sure. What point during your journey did you finally realize that this is what you want to be doing for a long time and this is my passion? When did the uncertainty go away from you? The uncertainty never goes away, to be truthful. I think what's helpful in the last couple of days is I've deleted X, I deleted Threads, and I deleted TikTok. It's a lot easier to figure out what things that you want to do and like where you want to align your creative passions when you're not listening to other people. And I think over the last like 12 months, I did the opposite. So at that point, I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, and this is something that like I'm still kind of working through is there are certain aspects of filmmaking that I don't want to take part in. And if that means that you're going to be a lesser filmmaker, whatever the hell you want to call it, fine. Okay. At least I get to go to sleep at doing the things that I enjoy. So I think that's something that's come up honestly around the time when I ordered the Ursa 12K, because I ordered it and my first thought was, I'm going to put a video up and I guarantee you, even as I say this, it's still going to happen. Someone's going to come up there and they're going to say something about not needing the latest camera, or I don't deserve to buy this thing, or I'm not going to use it for the way that it's like all that other stuff, all that other noise. And at first I was like, and sometimes like I'll go over arguments in my head because I'm crazy. And the first thing I did was I thought of every sort of way that I could rebut those things. And then I thought about it and I'm like, don't care. I don't care. Do I actually care, and will it change? And go back to the things that you want to do. I even almost made a second channel like today. And then I realized that I'm like, I like being here and there's things I like doing. I may as well just do them. So that realization, that uncertainty kind of is always going to be there. But you have to just find whatever the North Star is, because there's going to be so many people that are going to tell you how to run your business, and it's going to drive you insane. And you might even spend some time listening to them, and it's not advantageous. Hey, new to your channel. I started looking at cameras for vacations memories of the kids. Honestly, it's kind of overwhelming. I'm worried about choosing the wrong camera to the point of just using my phone. Brozaro, I will tell you, find the camera that fits your budget first. So if you're looking at my channel, anything that says Blackmagic Cine, don't look at it. Sony FX, don't look at it. Lumix S9, Sony A6700, maybe look at those. Because if you're looking for something just for vacation, looking at schmucks like me talking about cameras that are 20 pounds, don't consider those as vacation cameras. You'll be upset. But also, for the people that are here for the videography, cinematography side of things, would you guys feel a way if I talked about smaller cameras? I'm genuinely curious, because I want to, like, I've had an Osmo Pocket 3 for like a year and a half. Never made a video about it. I had an Action 5 and I lost my Action 5 and I can't find it. I really want that back. It's really making me upset. Anyways, I have smaller cameras that I use all the time for a variety of different things. Oftentimes doesn't go to YouTube. But I haven't really found a place of like how to explain those. And yeah, I don't want to necessarily divert the audience into two different realms, but maybe making like a second channel for that. But that being said, yeah, if you guys are looking at smaller cameras, don't look at these Blackmagic things. They're not going to help you. Unless you get like the 6K full frame. I guess technically that would, if you want to pull manual focus. Yeah, I'm sure you checked this already, but be careful when flying with more powerful V mounts. Whenever I fly, especially if I'm going to bring bigger V mounts, especially if I'm going to try, if by some God's grace I can get a Pyxis 12K, that'll be the camera that goes on the plane with me, and the Ursa stays home. Because I would rather not risk those things, or wherever I'm going, hopefully there's V mounts that are there. So if like there's a job I have to take on, like I'll just go. Hopefully it's a rental shop close enough that I could just go to a rental shop and get batteries. You enjoy what you're doing and you're humble about it. I rock with that. Hey, respects, man. Some people say the opposite. So I can appreciate when somebody says that part because I think I align with that one, not what other people say on the internet. Seriously, this has to be the first time I've heard of a camera size being too light. Hey, when you have hands this big, there are cameras that are too small. That Fuji XM5, too small. Oh, you mean in terms of the Easy Rig? Yeah, man. If you get the Easy Rig, sorry, not the Easy Rig, the Fallcam Flowline 750N, the minimum weight on there, gigantic. It's actually wild. Like the only time I've successfully got it to like completely balance was the Sony Venice one with the raw recorder. I have those off-brand easy. I have one of those off-brand easy rigs too with a serene arm on top. Need like 10 minimum to be able to pull the Ursa down. Works, but not as well as a proper easy rig, of course. Yeah, but like also a proper easy rig is $5,500 Canadian, and I don't have that kind of money. There's nothing. No shooting. There's nothing. No shooting with your phone. The recent phones are solid for yeah. Also, phones are great too. I would say if you're gonna get video, grab ND filters for your phone and just use a Blackmagic app too. Yeah, I got the flow. Yeah, Thomas. I have that exact easy rig. I just don't have the stabilization arm. Actually, how does that work with it? Because I have mine, and I don't know if I want to sell it and then just bite the bullet and buy an easy rig Vario, or just stick with that and just add more weight to it. Athenas or Vespers for Ursa Cine lenses. It kind of depends on what you're shooting. If you want more character, you want more clinical, because the Athenas are pretty corrected. Like they're very, very clean. Have you shot in Atlanta before? Technically, no. I've been to Atlanta and I shot photos. I did like a photo vlog, I think like maybe in the end of 2021. I think it was like one of the 3 videos I posted in 2021. But I've been to Atlanta. I would love to go again. I just don't have a reason to go. If I have a reason to go, then I could hit that up, because Atlanta is just like, it's a straight shot south from Toronto, and I think it's the same time zone and everything. But I've heard on YouTube that you're not a real filmmaker if you don't have IMDb credit page. So you have to write and release your own stories and accept the truth. I know what that's from. That's funny. I have a wild theory about how things are going to go with media production and stuff like that. And I'll do it real quick. So right now, currently the conversation from outlets that I've like heard from, or like other people that worked in the industry, is that major television and broadcast is going to make its way over to YouTube, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. What's probably going to happen is that it will, because it makes sense. It's a giant financial opportunity. But what's going to happen is the products that those major TV networks are going to put out are going to suck, because YouTube and cable television and stuff like that, it's not the same thing, and people watch it for different reasons. What's going to probably end up happening, though, is that you will maybe get some of these networks that will buy essentially other people's channel material to put on their network. For example, if you've ever seen Pop the Balloon, the one show where the dating show, they pop the balloon. Netflix bought that. Pop the Balloon still exists on YouTube, but it's now a show on Netflix, and they've made it to what it is, and I think it actually sucks way more on Netflix, and it's way better on YouTube. But anyways, that's going to happen way more often than you think it's going to happen when these networks move into there. And when these producers move into there, when they start looking for new things or new IP to pick up, or maybe even people to work on some of the existing IP that they have, the places where they might look is probably going to be native to the platform that they're putting it on. For example, if I needed someone to work in television, I would start looking at television shows and finding out who works in these television shows, and I bring them onto my show because obviously it did well and I want to bring them on. If I'm somebody with a channel that is successful and I'm a broadcast network that's getting into YouTube for the first time, there's a lot of advertising dollars because I have a lot of capital, because I might be NBC or some other whatever. Where am I going to look is probably going to be inside the platform that I'm posting on, which means it kind of invalidates the whole IMDb thing. So that's just my thought process. I think that's what I think is going to happen. But I also get the callback. I think the whole conversation is silly, and I don't want to participate in it. A secret lens for you to try, the Nikon AIS 500 of... Okay, so is this the super zoom, like with the parfocal zoom? I've seen this one on the internet once, and it looks so cool. And I want to find this one because I think it's also like you could get on an eBay for like a pretty decent price. Um, Thomas, we got to chat. Thomas, hit me up on Instagram because I need to talk to more people that have an Ursa Cine 12K. Do you ever stop and think how surreal and insane modern technology is? We can record a moment. Yes, I thought about that today when I was setting up the. This is the S12E, and as I was setting that up, I'm like, this thing could shoot in a format at the same price as when I bought the A7 III, only in 2018 or 2019. That's when I bought it. The idea that you can do that is nuts because this setup, the S12E, this setup right now was in some red sensor for like 25 grand like 6 years ago, and it's $2,500 US. Yeah, if you could pay for it back fast and the right level of work, then it's really amazing. There's so many options out there. Oh, sorry. What was a deal breaker for you for the Burano? Was it mainly the price? Because damn, I get it. Honestly, there was a price versus like what it does. I think that's the easiest way to explain it. And like, yeah, I think it was just a price for what it does. I was like, you know what? Like, it's great. And you know what? It's also me acknowledging that like that camera is just not for that camera. Like if there's any camera that's like not for people that make videos that mostly go to like YouTube and social media, it's probably the Sony Burano. Because people that are in like Netflix, people that are in like broadcast, they love that camera. It's so like people in sports love that. I'm in none of those. So I think that's kind of what it was. It wasn't for who it's for, makes a lot of sense. For my use case, probably not. Arlo's Mercury Atlas testing a new Sigma Izu soon. Invite me. I don't know what to tell you. That's dope. Especially when you get a Venice 1 for under half the price of the Burano. Yeah, that's also it too. Though the Venice is a truck. Like the Venice is so big that I think I actually like I made a couple videos talking about it, and then by the time I got to the end of the videos, I'm like, I ain't ready for this. Let me give this back to Sony. I don't want this. I'm not ready for that at all. Oh, hang on a second. I have a slushie. Someone gave me a slushie. Can I have a slushie? Can you bring it? My girlfriend brought me a slushie. I don't even drink slushies, but she brought me one, so I like it. I'll drink like a bit of it because I'm trying my best not to drink a lot of things that have sugar in it. Big back season is over. Although there's a slushie here. Definitely drop a few small camera videos. Andor, I don't drop small camera videos. It's all big ting, big monting. Oh, like actual physically small cameras. Never mind. Yeah, you know what? I might. I have an S9. I have the A7C2. I should probably do that. So drop everything, bro. Hey, I respect that because I always get really worried about like diverting the audience too much. But also I can understand that like the name of the channel isn't Kofi Talks About Cinema Cameras. It's just my first and last name, which means I can put anything up. And or people like your personality. Hey, I'm glad that you guys do because some people don't, and they make it very clear, and that's fine. But I appreciate it when anybody does. Yeah, I'm gonna take one more sip of this and I'm done. All right, moving away from me. I will put that in the freezer and I will drink that later over the course of the week. Although I'm not gonna be here anyway. Would you suggest against bringing a Pyxis on a plane to a different state? No, you can. I brought it to Italy. Like, I brought it across continents, so you should be fine. Hey, we got a super chat. Greg, 12K fund for Life Cream. I think that says ice cream. Ice cream in this hot weather. Life Cream. Hey, yo. Life Cream sounds crazy. Chase, I just took my Ursa Cine from London to Sardinia. All fine, just never fly with Pellies. Yeah, that's fair. Also, just like air tags are your best friend. Would love the DJI Pocket 4 video. Has an FX3. Wanted something lighter, simple for vlogs in places where the FX3 takes so much space. For me, I would love it. Just yeah, I've had one for such a long time and bought it last summer. Last summer. I use it pretty much as like a BTS camera if I want to make like social media content for behind the scenes stuff. Maybe I should. Maybe I will. Would you make a video on getting sponsors and pricing? The hard part with that is that there's so much not one size fits all for sponsors and pricing. Like it would have to be like the parameters in order to get the pricing. You would have to almost do exactly the same thing as like everybody that you're watching, which is probably going to be in this space. And even in then, pricing is going to differ a lot. Like there are people that have bigger subscriber counts than I do that I get paid more than they do. So that's a tough one. I mean, I guess I'll talk about channel membership. So if you guys go on the page, I actually don't know how you find them, but I made them this morning because I wanted to. But I made a channel members page. It's completely optional. You guys do not have to do this. I figured I'd put it up there because YouTube keeps asking me about it. And then also there's like other things and other like videos that might not make it to the main channel that I also don't want to spend 6 hours editing that I want to make for members only. Maybe something like this. And yeah, so there's a couple of different tiers that are on it. One is just like a support tier, which I think is like $5 Canadian. That's just like, hey, we mess with you. Here's $5. And I'm like, awesome. I could buy myself half a carton of eggs, which is awesome. And then there's a middle one, which is that you're gonna have like live streams, members only videos, Q&As. I'm gonna try to do like a live Q&A every week. I'm also working on getting the Discord channel kind of working because I had one, didn't pay too much attention to it, and it kind of fell apart. And the third one comes from a lot of people asking for footage to play around with, especially when I do like lens reviews or like I do camera reviews, and people were like, oh, I want the footage to play with for myself. And in my mind, coming from a background where that footage gets paid for when it's licensed out, that is a footage tier where like once a month I'll have like a Dropbox and it'll have like any of the videos that I've done that month, and it'll have test footage from the things that we talked about during the month. So put that up there. I'm always open to feedback and stuff like that for it, but those are completely optional to you if you want to do them. But that's something where this question probably could get a little bit more in depth because that could be its own subject, and it's hard to quantify and it's hard to answer because everyone's so different. Bought an S1 II, and it's great as a camera for gigs or my own content, but I'm thinking about returning it for the Pyxis BM full frame for biz and the S9 for YouTube. Good idea. Ooh. Well, wouldn't that cost you more money? I feel like that would cost you more money though. I mean, you could do that. Like you could go Pyxis 12K or Pyxis 6K and then the S9 for YouTube. You could do that. That's not actually a bad idea, to be honest with you. And everything's an L mount too. Yeah, like you could. I'm not even against that. I don't necessarily like. I think you'll spend more money in the long run, but I'm not against it. Did you hear about the 12K Sony FX8 rumor? I think I did. Again, this is where like part of the reason why I bought the Ursa Cine 12K is that my expectations for any camera coming out after that is that's cool, but I have what I have. To be fair though, if you guys don't know, I work pretty closely with Sony Canada, and like I don't get embargo stuff from Sony, but it's usually like a short, medium term loaner after the fact. So like if I wanted to borrow the Burano for a month, like I'd be able to do that after the fact, not necessarily on launch day, or even like the FX2, which I'm very surprised they didn't shoot me for making those videos. Those are like after the fact things, but I have heard about it. I don't until more information comes out or until the camera comes out. There's not a lot I could say because I don't know anything. Just picked up a Vespa 35. You'll like it. I had my Vespa stolen from me earlier this year, so you will enjoy it. Edge stability arm for the fly cam is a must. Without the Serene arm, an easy rig thing will only make the camera bounce when moving. The easy rig was designed for standing and filming. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so I will look at the edge stability arm because I do have a 750N at home. And if that's a good stopgap for the next couple of months while I save up to get a Vario 5, I might just do that. I'm intrigued by the new Apple sensor rumor that has 20 stops to dynamic range. I don't think you'll see it in the camera. I might see it in the phone. But even if you give me like past 14 stops of dynamic range, I'm like, I don't, what do I need to see after that? I don't need to see, like, I don't need so much dynamic range that I could see the veins in my eyes. I could care less. But I don't think you're going to see it in the camera. I don't think it's a camera sensor. Sorry, I don't think it's a like a standard traditional camera sensor. I think it's probably going to be something for like a phone. or something else. Hey, what's going on? Brown guy, I think you're in the city too, right? You're shooting a lot of music videos in the city. I'm pretty sure you're out here. Aminox, where's that quote from? I don't know what he said, but whatever he said, I'm curious now. I have an IMDb page, and I'm not a real filmmaker yet. I think based on like other projects that are on IMDb that I maybe have worked on, like maybe I have one. I don't know. Again, these are things that were like never important to me when I was like, and I think I posted this on Instagram yesterday. And I was like, back in like the days where like FX6 videos were coming out, I was posting 3 times a week, 6 reels a week. I almost got into live streaming weekly, but I had 4 retainer clients. I was training. I was doing like, there was all of these things that I was doing and all of this output when I didn't know about this stuff and I didn't care. So I'm going to go back to not caring about them because it doesn't serve well. But yeah, also the whole IMDb thing is the barometer for filmmaking is kind of wild, but it's not, I don't care. Those are great points. It's just hard when you're trying to think of what is good for personal work as well as trying to be available for productions by already having a camera. Yeah, that's also how you like. Truthfully, that's how you kind of fall into having a bunch of crap. Let me be real with you. There are cameras that I'm like, this one is going to be like like I've almost over compartmentalized things where like the S12E, this is going to be the YouTube camera forever. Because I don't care about going like in a deep dive 20 video playlist on them. This will be in the office and I know it's always there. It's hooked up to the computer. When I want to live stream, it's there. When I want to make a video like YouTube, it's there. No problem. The S12 and the S1R2 are going to have their own purposes. The 6K and the Pyxis and the Ursa are going to have their own thing. My Fuji is going to have its own thing. When you try to compartmentalize for all these things, like you just end up spending a ton of money. And then you end up selling stuff because you're like, oh, that's too much. So you end up like, I mean, it's a financial lesson you have to learn, but like you'll push and pull and figure it out eventually. Oh, that's the quote. Yeah. Yeah, we're not doing that here. we do not do that here. We will not do that here. So we won't be. In Ghana, we have a word called walaha, which I'm pronouncing wrong, but it means foolishness or trouble. So when you don't want walaha, that's what you say. You don't want that. I don't want any foolishness. Because again, I am not letting my black crack over what other people think about me on the internet. I had the Bronto for 2 weeks, splice footage of the S12, Z52 in 1080p, FX30, and 2 pay gigs, and I compared the difference on my screen. Yeah. I think what's happened with cameras now also too, I will say, and I think some of us have to accept this. Sometimes you buy cameras for this guy, for you, me, you. You could buy the camera for yourself and not necessarily be like, this is going to be the thing that's going to make my clients happy, because that's all. You could just buy stuff for yourself. It's okay. For the same reasons why you maybe don't need the BMW to go to your job that pays you $70,000 a year. You don't. You could actually take the bus. But guess what? If you have the means to do it and you want to do it, just do it. It's cool. It's fine. But yeah, I don't know. The Bronto for me is just for what it does. It's too much money. I think it's like, what is it in Canadian? Hang on a second. Let me just check. It's like something ridiculous. The Sony Bronto is is $47,000 Canadian. The Sony Bronto. You know how much the Ursa 12K is? 21% of that. That was a deal breaker. That's, if you ask me what the deal breakers, that's it. $47,000. Video for better than YouTube. Only place you can get away from the YouTube camera much. No algorithms, no high end, and only high end work. It's the best for getting view ideas and motivation. Need a VPN to browse. Yeah, I have. Like I used to pay for Vimeo and I'd post stuff on there. I want to get back into that. I think despite doing like YouTube like far more full time, my desire to have good portfolio work is higher now than when I was freelancing and not doing YouTube, which is really weird and kind of plays into some of the choices I've made financially. But yeah, I can get behind that. Vimeo is a great place to see a lot of high-end work. The hard part is that you can't really build, like, it's hard to build community on Vimeo, right? Like, that's kind of the double-edged sword. Like, you get high-end stuff, but, like, if you're trying to create some sort of community, it's going to be a little bit tougher to do that because there's not as many people on there. Oh, sorry, we still started with Will Tennyson. I started watching after his videos, workout videos. Oh yeah, me and Will's so cool. I haven't talked to Will in a very long time. He's been busy. He's busy having 2 million subscribers and doing his thing. I talked to Pat a couple times. I don't know if you guys know Patrick, that's on his channel that was filming before. But yeah, he's doing crazy stuff. But I think the same thing when you get busy and you don't talk to your friends from like high school for a while. I think it's kind of one of those. I haven't talked to him in a long time, so. Yeah, if you see him, tell him I said hi, because I haven't seen him. Live stream sponsored by Kofi Cups. I packed mine already. They are going to Utah because we are going to some wild places that are going to be way too hot for any normal person, but I'm doing them anyways. Yeah, we're coming here for your not Nigerian language sessions. Hey, make sure you get it right. I'm not Nigerian. It was funny. We did me and Prince Mason did a collab on the 35 millimeter Viltrox lens. And for the longest time, I thought his last name was Mensa. So I just assumed that he was Ghanaian. And I deleted the clip. And I think he was like, hey, we're going to do the Ghanaian language of the day. And Mason's like, bro, I'm Nigerian. And I'm like, oh, now we are in an awkward position. Yeah, autocorrect on the new phone is messing with my spelling. Yeah, ducking sucks. If you know, you know. Jason, was there a reason for using so many different types of cameras on that shoot? I'm just curious. I don't mean to sound weird in any way. You don't sound weird. I will say though, woof, 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 woof is a hilarious name. Jason Moore. Oh, sorry. Was testing the Z5 II, a lens of the ZV-E1. Need a fan for interviews, so I had the FX30 next to the Burano, and I wanted open gate anamorphic filming on the annoyingly. Jesus Christ, that's so many cameras, Jason. That's so much. See, I do 2 camera interviews. This guy just says, how many cameras can we get? Yes. Good morning from Australia. Hey, I still got your video coming up. Don't worry. By the end of tonight, you'll get that. Don't worry. I think Sony's aware that the FX2 didn't launch well, and they can't blame you for that. They can't. Didn't do the embargo. And if there was something I lied about, I would love to hear it. But you know what? It's an opportunity for them to grow. That's all. I'm not even going to say the camera's trash. It's just, hey, it's a growth opportunity. And I hope they take it and they listen to it. I've been thinking about getting getting an FX6, but it's a 5-year-old camera now. Do you figure it better to wait, still get camera 2025? I'm torn between the Blackmagic, Sony, and love the FX6 for. If you need built-in NDs and autofocus, the FX, like even if there was a new FX6, unless the FX6 currently is going to go down in price and this new FX6 is going to take its price, I'd still say get it. And I will be so real with you. I don't think even if there is a new camera that it's going to overtake the price of what's currently out. I think they're just going to make it more expensive. And if you don't believe me, when the A7 IV came out, it came out at $500 more money than the A7 III came out at its launch date. When the A7 III came out, it was like $22,000, $21.99. When the A7 IV came out, it was $2,500. So they didn't even decrease the price when they both came out and both existed at the same time. I think they're just going to make it more expensive. So you still are probably going to get, or just get it used. Get it used, and then like, hey, if something else comes out, man, hopefully you've worked enough between now and whenever it comes out. You've made a little bit of money, made the money back, sell it. Maybe you lose a couple $100 and you get the new thing later. It all evens out in the end. Thomas, I'm in Toronto this coming week. The 1 week that are you working on a particular project with Daryl Wong, DP for an artist? Because if you are, I'm going to be real sad because I got offered that gig to cam op for it. But I'm going to Utah tomorrow, and I won't be back till next week. And that's also something that's happened with YouTube, and why I'm like, I don't necessarily want to go the traditional path. Is there's been 3 separate occasions where, and if you're in the city, you'll kind of know this too. If you're not part of the top, like if you're not part of one of the top agencies or like know someone that's adjacent to it, like you're not getting a lot of work right now. And there's been 3 situations where DPs were like, hey, I'd love for you to cam op this thing. As like a B camera operator, not even on A camera, because I don't know many of them very well. And all 3 times I've had either NAB, a client retainer gig that I had to do, or this time going to Utah. And I'm really upset about it because like there's opportunities that I can get myself into that workflow, but I've missed every single one of them because of this stuff. Apple could sell their sensor tech to other brands and compete with Sony, but it's more likely to keep it for themselves and use it in their phones. Yeah, that's fair. There's like whoever, I don't even think it's going to be the sensor war anymore. Whoever can make the best processor for some of these cameras to process all these things, they're going to make a lot of money. Gear FOMO was real. Walked into a shop in Tokyo and tried the Sony 50 to 150 f2. Next thing I know, I walked out with it. And now I want upcoming A7 V. Hey, next time you like, here's the thing. And this is something that I have yet to be able to confirm this. I think what I'm going to do going forward, if I'm ever inclined to buy something in a category, I'm going to buy the most expensive thing that I think I could ever buy. And then, because then by contrast, everything else is like, that's cool, but not as cool as the thing that I got. Like the Ursa, for example. There are so many cameras I will not be interested in that are cinema cameras now that I'll be like, because what, say an FX6 Mark II comes out. It's not going to have 12K open gate with the RGB sensor with all the other stuff. I'll look at it and be like, oh, that's really cool. But I got an Ursa 12K. That's what's going to happen. It's the same thing with like, I used to have the A6300 or the A7 III, and then I had the A7 IV. When I got like FX cameras, the next mirrorless camera that came out, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But like, I got an FX6, so what do I care, right? So I'm hoping that happens. So yeah, I would say like if you're gonna do it, just also my accountant told me the same thing. He's like, if you're gonna buy camera gear, just buy the most expensive things so you don't keep doing it. Because yeah, you can write it off, but then like you're either writing it off or you're paying somebody else. Like you're gonna lose the money either way. And the rat race of buying gear all the time just to get tax write-off sometimes it actually gets to the point where you're just in Stupidsville and it actually doesn't make any more sense than just paying more taxes. Seems like a unicorn at the moment. We all want to know what the A7 V is going to do. I have a weird hot take that I think the A7 V was going to be what the S1R2 is now, but they came out with it first, so they went back to the drawing board to try a couple things out. I was thinking the same thing about the Apple sensor. It'll be just for phones. It'd be pretty wild if they made a full frame version. Yeah, it would be. It would cost you your life. You'd have to give up one human sacrifice to be able to do it. The better step up with that camera. Competition's heating up. Yeah, but like as much as YouTube titles and thumbnails want you to think, and like I've switched cameras before, it's not that frequent. It's not nearly as frequent as what you think it is. So like even if like think about it this way, like not many people. Although, like in terms of the videos, people that have switched from like Sony to like an S1 II, it's less than 10. On YouTube at least. Like there's like less than 10 people that have done it on YouTube. So I don't necessarily think it's even if the competition heats up, man. Like people don't buy cameras like that all the time. Jason Motobrano sensor isn't anything special. It's an A9 sensor, not. I thought it was an A1 sensor. Not in the Venice. BM12K Alexa, yeah. See, Tom has been really hyping me up on this camera that I'm waiting on the other end of a FedEx desk for. Why are you up so early? It's almost 5 a.m. Yeah. Everyone from Australia, why are you guys up at 5 a.m. watching this live stream? There's probably production coming ready to order 6 or more of them. Yeah, there is. But like based on how work's going down here, it wouldn't be a great thing to do. It's not a great idea. But also at the same time, I'm like, yeah, cool. I could have a Burano, or I could have swear. I don't like swearing. Or I could have 5 Ursa Cine bodies for one Sony Burano. Sony needs to figure out how they get more dynamic range out of their cameras. The FX3 and the Venice have basically the same dynamic range. The big difference between them is ports and codecs. Yep. Also, I'd say like the Venice has the same, I guess, like sauce as when you're comparing like a photo lens to like a cinema lens with a little bit of juice in it. Now that everybody has good low light. Yeah, it's fair. Sony Vimeo is mainly top end DPs directors. Not a minefield of subpar camera much on YouTube. Best place to watch real work. Not for making channel posts like it here though. That's fair, but also at the same time, in order to get to a certain point from A to B, especially in 2025, where the economy is and like scarcity of work in certain areas, that is an avenue by which you can take somebody that can go from YouTube to parlay that into making stuff that's more Vimeo viable. Everyone starts at some point, right? And also, like, even in my experience, building a community here has given me the resources to build things that I could post on Vimeo at a later day, which I don't think I would have done or would have taken me way longer had I not done it. Unless you need extremely high-end frame rates, the Pyxis 12K frame rate should be more than enough. I'm using new wooden camera SDI distributor, which gives me 2 SDI ports. That's fair. Although I will say 240 frames a second is really cool. I will never use it in real life, I don't think, but it's real fun. Also, speed booster to shoot medium format lenses. Did you find a speed? I think someone asked about that in a Facebook group, but I don't know if anyone found a solution for it, or lenses for that matter. Yeah. Well, hang on a second. I actually think I remember. I can't remember what the difference is between Ari, Alexa. I used to know this off by heart, but I think I want to know. I can't remember how many stops of dynamic range, and I mean, like, it doesn't change a whole lot. There is anywhere between noise signal noise ratio of 2. It's like 13.5 to 14 true stops. Hang on, CND Ursa 12K. I'm just curious. I don't know. I want to know what. Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, you're talking like not even a quarter of a stop difference between the LF and the Ursa, also called the LF. I'm sure they will do better on the FX 2.5. Make the viewfinder removable, I guess. I don't know. Seriously considering investing in a quality lens set, but still within the budget range. Are the Aros Primes as good as everyone says? The Aros Primes are very, very good. Just make sure you in the gym, because those are big ass lenses. I think it piques my interest is the most of B set, which is surprising because they don't really have many mid range options for the B set. I think it's like what, a 14, a 40, and then like 180 or something like that. Like, I don't remember what the B set. Actually, I just Google it. Hang on, Arl's B set. Rental shop by my house just got the B set like 2 days ago. 14. Yeah, between 40 and 135 is a gigantic gap, man. That is insane. The B set's that's an insane gap on the B set. I don't know if I'd be able to do the Bs. I mean, like, to be fair, yeah, no, like, give me like something between like 40 and 135. That's a wide berth, my boy. Thomas, I was under the belief that what makes the Alexa sensor was more special was the color science. What makes you say the 12K is like the Alexa sensor? Again, curious on your thoughts. From using both, Blackmagic ain't no slouch, bro. Also very close to Supreme Primes and wide open. Not the flare wads, but 3D Papas, the Zeiss Otis, punch above the RL is below the Superman. Yeah, but ain't no one got Zeiss Otis money, bro. Thomas, no one got that Zeiss Otis bread. I don't have Zeiss Otis bread. Did the Raleigh FX30 worth messing around with versus fixing exposure in post? It crops in on the Super 35, so I'm like, you can do it. I only used to do it on like very certain occasions and not very often. So if you don't already have the necessary things for it, I wouldn't bother too much with it, to be honest with you. Bought 2 cinema cameras 6K full frame last year when they were on sale, 1,000 off, 2,000 total. Yeah, that was a steal. Keep them both in the box, never opened. Sold them 2 months ago at full price, including tariff. Made it out like a bandit. When I sold my Komodo X, it was 4 days before the price drop. When I went to sell my Komodo X for the Pyxis, and then Blackmagic's like, don't pay for the Pyxis, we'll just give you one. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'll cancel my pre-order. Yeah, made it out with like a bandit, selling the red Komodo X for full price. Yes, Alexa color design is amazing out of the box. You could also get close to engrading. I've seen more enough bad Alexa footage. Not all about. I have seen some terrible Alexa footage before. I've seen things where I'm like, oh, what was that shot on? And then I'm like, it's one of those things where you ask like about, like, you see someone, like, you'll see a commercial or something like that, and then you'll ask about like how the production went and stuff, and then someone's like, oh, well, like, I used an Amira, and you're like, oh, cool. And you look at it and you're like, could have used an A7S2 and I wouldn't have been able to tell. But at the same token, there are things that are beautiful on the Alexa. And from a price to quality ratio, I don't think you're going to get any better than the Ursa Cine 12K, truthfully. Buying the most expensive thing doesn't work, especially if you're talking about the Arri Alexa. There's like, I mean, to be fair though, there's still things in like the upper end of the industry where like that can be an investment thing. If you're someone who like does investment properties for like real estate and stuff like that, you might actually have some insight on that or like just understand how that works. But some people buy Alexas just for the investment portion of it, not necessarily to use it for freelance work. Bought the 12K for 5K, great trade up. See, I like NM. He's moving and shaking, bro. Their 12K will be more than enough camera for us for a long time. Yes, Sony will have a similar camera in this price category, and they won't. Sony will not make a camera that will be that cheap with that output ever. I don't, in my personal opinion. The FX6 is around. Actually, I could check right now. I'm pretty sure the FX6 is within like $1,000 of the Ursa 12K. FX6 is $79. So the FX6 is $2,000 less than the Ursa 12K. And it's more than the Pyxis 12K, which fair, it has autofocus, which might not be forever, as an advantage over it. I don't think you're going to get it. I don't think you're going to get something that's going to be that cheap that's going to have that output for a very long time. I wouldn't be surprised if the Apple sensors for making content on the Apple Vision Pro. That's probably exactly what it might be for. To be fair, probably exactly what that's for. Because if you're going to do like any sort of immersive filmmaking, you need, like, you can't, it'd be so weird to have like immersive filmmaking and that like immersive video tools, but then like highlights are blown out. Yeah, I can see that. Django, that makes sense. Production is also slowing down around the world, so expect cameras to slow down. Honestly, thank God. Thank God. Not thank God that production's slowing down, because there's like, I have friends that are in the industry that don't have jobs and like haven't worked in 6 months. But yeah, for like this whole, and that's where this whole like filmmaker versus YouTuber thing gets really silly, is everyone's not working. Like everyone's slow. Everyone's slow. Like there are guys that I look up to as DPs, and they're working on gigantic projects in Canada, and in efforts for me just to learn more because I have the space and resources to. I was like, hey, like I'd love to come out and be useful. If you could find me being useful, like here's the things that I have, here's what I can do, this is what I can do. I can even come on as a camera trainee, and they're like, man, love to have you on. We're slow. We're slow right now, and we've been slow for a while. And unless you're part of the top 5 agencies, in which good luck to you, and we all hate you. I'm just joking. But all over the place, it's all slow, which means that cameras are going to get cheaper, teams are going to get smaller, budgets are going to get smaller, which is also why I like YouTube. Because like, if you think that I'm not going to use an Ursa Cine 12K to make YouTube videos, you're so mistaken, because I'm going to do it. And I'm going to enjoy every second of it. The BM12K sensor gains almost stop of DR when shooting 12K and exporting in a 4K timeline. That's one is slightly more. Yeah, and the Mini LF is only 4.5K. So yeah, you're right. I think it's like 13.8 or something like that. It's like stupid close. They're almost the same. Yeah, they're almost the same, which is nuts because it's $7,500 US. Like we could argue about the Arri Alexa being the gold standard all we want. When it's $100,000 more, it doesn't really hold up that well. Or even if it's $50,000 more, I'm not going to buy an Alexa. This is the farthest I'm going to go. Can you explain how to get this look you have right now on whatever OBS you're on? I'm actually on Ecamm. I'm using the 18 millimeter L mount Lumix lens on the S12E, direct USB into the thing as a webcam. I don't think I'm shooting an open gate. I'm not. And I have the short stash everyday filter. Now this is actually showing up in 1080 30 frames a second. If I have the capture card, which I do have somewhere in the house, I'd be able to get this in 4K and it would look sharper and crispier, and you wouldn't see like the banding in the back wall here. And then I just have a little nan light on my desk. It's actually, I put the stand on my desk. So it's a little nan light 60B right over there. I'm really happy with the Arl's A set. They're pretty large, but in the grand scheme of the rest of my rig, image quality gains are worth it over the previous lenses. The Athena, they're really nice. Oh, FX3 and Venice DR are not the same. They just have similar colors, definitely. Definitely not close enough in DR though. Yeah, they are very close in color. I did a video like 2 years ago on. I was working with Cinematch, and I was able to trick people at the rental shop that the FX30 was a Venice because the color sciences are so close together. Oh, sorry. Just to clarify, with Vimeo, using it for mood boarding inspo, not up. Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, Vimeo is going to be your friggin' golden goose in terms of being able to get stuff from high end productions, which I wish I got to work on. Um, and you know what? Maybe it may be kind of coming to this acceptance that like this is what I like, the type of videos and filmmaking that I want to do. Maybe there'll be stuff that I'll put up that are Vimeo worthy. Currently not right now, but yeah, definitely I use that for inspo all the time, especially when like I was not willing to pay money for things like shot deck or frame set. Is there anything the Ursa 12K doesn't do that you kind of wish it did? Autofocus. Autofocus is the only thing. Autofocus, and if you can get an attachable electronic L mount to it. Because right now I think it's locking EF, locking PL, locking LPL. But if there were, I don't, and I haven't, I don't have one, so I can't tell you. But when I put on the PL adapter, I want to see if there's electronic contacts in them. Because if there is, then technically speaking, if you try hard enough, you could software yourself into some L mount autofocusing things. But if you gave that thing autofocus, man, yeah, it'd be cool. That's all I'm gonna say. It'd be cool. I have a B tested the Ursa 12K versus the Alexa Mini. 12K has a stop better dynamic highlight, but a stop works in shadows. Yeah. Also keep in mind, like, and Thomas is on point here too. With you get the dynamic range stops in cameras, it doesn't tell you which side of those dynamic range spots there are. So for example, if I have like 14 stops of dynamic range, 10 can be in the highlights and overexposure, 10 can be like overexposed, and 4 can be under, or it can be split evenly in 7 and 7, or it can be 11 and 3. Like it could be so many different ways in how it goes. I do wish though that it had a bit more stop in the shadows, just because I am dark skinned and a lot of the people that I work with are, and just getting extra dynamic range in the darker areas for me is something that's important. That helps out a lot. It helps out a lot with skin tones too, but Blackmagic's really good at that. There's dynamic range, but there's also eyes. Yeah, so I think Thomas just said that, and I also just read that. Hey, Psionic Audio, thank you, man. I just discovered your channel the other day. Been catching up. Enjoy your stuff. Subscribe. Thank you. Appreciate it. Tune in for more. I have a checklist of. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find it. I guess I'll get you guys the kind of the inside scoop on future videos, because I think what I'm going to do here is kind of go back to how things were on the channel, where when I work on jobs, I break them down for you. There still will be a weekly lighting breakdown, even if it's not good, which is tomorrow. There's times where I'm not the best cinematographer, and we'll talk about those tomorrow. And so anyway, so the sneak peek of videos to come is there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 Ursa 12K videos that are mostly just based on like rigging, gear, stuff like that, setting it up and all the other stuff. But then also I split it up into 3 categories. So there's going to be something called cine practice. So I'm going to try out new lighting. I'm going to try out new like techniques and stuff. And those are going to be its own category while using the Ursa 12K. And the ones I have are things like combating ugly lighting using your ND filters. I have one thing where I'm just going to go around for a week straight. Just the kids call it clip farming, where they're just getting compositions of whatever is around them and building that into a reel for the Ursa. I'm going to do 3 color grading videos. I don't do enough color grading here. I organize these videos and I want to make a color grading category. I never did. I got one on exposure. I got another one on low light, because the Ursa is not necessarily known as a low light beast. So, but I do have some things that you can use when you're in lower light situation to help you out. And then there's a couple spec projects we have, and I break down the lighting, and those are going to be part of the weekly lightings. And then some of the spec projects we have too. So it's a pretty dense list, which is nice. And what's nice about having the Ursa and then also like a little bit of resources, that I could do these spec projects, make content, and then those things help me make more things. And then it keeps spinning, and we get to do things we enjoy, and you guys get to watch it for free. I texted the Alexa Mini against the Ursa and the Sony Venice at company volume wall. If you're pixel peeping, the differences are marginal projected on a big screen. Yeah, if you want solutions to heavy lenses, work out while watching Kofi live streams. Hey, I'll take it. Although I didn't realize it today. I'm like, I'm going to go to the gym today. And then I'm like, oh shit, the gym closes at like 2:00 on Sundays. And now I'm stuck here again. And it sucks. I had to stop doing that. Lenses matter more. I do like and obviously lighting. That's kind of where like, I think in terms of like how I want to do stuff with the Ursa 12K isn't necessarily going to be how I did it with the FX6. So the FX6, like I dove like there's 100 videos on the FX line on that playlist. I'm gonna get all of like the accessories and gear stuff out of the way, but I think a lot of it's gonna be about like lighting and lensing. Even with the Pyxis 12K too. As for color grading, you could buy a great image, but you can't buy good taste. That is factual as F. And also, I think I gotta diversify my palette. I feel like a lot of my lighting and a lot of like what my eye looks like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's like it's consistent, which is good, and I get hired for consistency. But like, I'm gonna try some new stuff. There's stuff I haven't tried to do, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let me give that a shot because there's stuff I don't know. How do you plan on stabilizing the Pyxis 12K easy rig on a Ronin? Haven't figured that out yet. That's a bridge we're gonna cross when we get there. I haven't figured out the gimbal situation. With the Pyxis 12K though, like I could handhold that, but that's also because I'm a big dude. Pyxis 12K is like a perfect like handheld. The Ursa, I'm easy rigging that. I'm gonna save my spinal cord. I am playing that business. So I'm prepping for a proof of concept project, and I shot a test on on the Director's Pocket 4K, and wow, the image is mind blowing. Got any tips on LUTs for the Pocket 4K? Use the ones that are built in. I use a lot of the film looks that are already built into DaVinci Resolve, and then the great starting base, and then I'll have like 15 nodes that like adjust and pull and push things, and then I'll make like that's gonna be my look. But it's a great place to start. Phantom LUTs I've always heard good things about. I've had Phantom LUTs actually I have them for the Pocket 4K. I have them for the Pocket 4K. They work great. So, yep. Pocket 4K. So one of the first videos I think I made on YouTube, because I made one video in 2020. It was on my birthday. Yeah, it was on my birthday, and I bought myself a Pocket 4K. And I wish I knew how to use that thing properly, because that image looked crazy. Lumix S52X or FX30. I'm gonna say this now without context. I'm not answering. I meant buying the most expensive thing doesn't work in terms of getting it out of your system. My bad. Oh, made from I mean, it's worked out for me a little bit. There's cameras I don't buy because I have a camera that I know that's better, and I just don't even look at it. Or I'll be like, oh, that's cute or cool that you have that. I'm unfazed. That was like a lot of the smaller Sony APS-C cameras like the ZV-E1. Like, I never really thought about buying them because I always had a thing that was kind of the similar size, and just I liked it better. Ari is struggling right now. Very telling of the industry. Yep. There are things. There's an Ari rent that's around the city. There is information that I've been told that they're not doing so hot, and some of the things that they are doing, like think of it this way: if Ari was doing better, they wouldn't have licensed out their log curve to Panasonic. In my opinion. Well, and at the same token, if Red was doing even better, then they would have never sold to Nikon. Any signs from Ari that you can see that show that they're struggling? Yeah, try to rent an Ari camera at an Ari rent and see how much they give you in exchange for renting it for a day. How's the S1 II with overheating? It hasn't. My S1 II hasn't overheated, to be honest. So I would say 0, if that's a word. I mean, if that's an answer. I truthfully speaking to you, I haven't really gone out of my way to try it on the S1 IIe. But generally speaking, like USB to webcam is probably the most heat intensive thing that I'll ever do on this camera, or I've ever done to camera to get it to overheat. Like this guy overheats when you're live streaming, even though it has the plugin for it, it'll overheat. The S1 II has been on for 2 hours and nothing's happened. So Theo, I have both, and they have their uses, but I prefer the S5 2X more. Image speed booster adapter, the Mamiya 645 lenses to the Leica L Cinema. I'm gonna need some of you guys to start just email. I wish you could. Wait, can you do this? Can someone confirm this? Can you go on the community tab and like put links in the community tab? Because there's things I'm just interested in trying. Things I might not put in the workflow permanently, but like stuff like that, I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Yeah, 25 price drop. I mean, Alexa 35 did the same thing Blackmagic did, and they made their cameras cheaper. Sky Panel not selling much at all. Orbiter was a flop. Yep, those are all things that are happening, man. The only issue with the Ursa 12K is the lower res you shoot, the less dynamic range you have. I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was the less resolution I shoot, the higher the dynamic range. Actually, I could just. I don't know why I'm asking this. I just look. Hang on, Cine D. Also, 13 stops, like 13 real stops of dynamic range is not low at all. Hang on a second. Let me go down here. Yeah, if you're shooting at 12K with a signal to noise of 2, it's 13. I'll never shoot and deliver in 12K ever. 4K is 13.6. The mini LF is like 13.8. I'm cool with half a stop less of dynamic range than a camera that's $75,000 Canadian. I'll take that to the bank. Yeah, only 5.5 loss. Yeah, no in 12K. Yeah. I did that weird pricing level thing with the firm. Yeah, then they licensed out. That was a weird one, man. I don't know if I like that at all. The look he has right now is called Superior She Jeans. Call back. Yeah, okay. Almanacs don't miss, bro. You can't ever just say something and get it past them because you'll call it back. Where would you place the C400 in the grand scheme of things? I've been considering it because you can get the C80 as a B cam. I think it's great. I don't know enough about the Canon new cameras to be honest with you. But I guess it would be the same place as the FX6, just more expensive. But also, C400s and C80s will get used quite a bit, especially in like the broadcast TV, space, and like some of like the broadcast documentary space. I had a conversation with a guy. Actually, I think that goes into production next year. But they have a doc that's going to run over the course of like a year or two, and they're shooting all C400s. So there's there's obviously a place for them. I left the Canon C70 like 4 years ago, and I've never looked back. Yeah, it's not a massive to dynamic. After 13 stops, I'm like, after 13 stops, if I need any more, it's user error. Oh yeah. I so wish I thought of that. Hey, it is what it is. Hey, sometimes you're an inventor and sometimes you're an innovator, bro. Well, I had no idea the stops were split up like that. I always thought it was a linear kind of thing. Yeah, same but I mean, it kind of makes sense because the little white sensors, I guess, are going to be what you would store some of the information in terms of like luminance, which I guess has something to do with dynamic range. Either way, going from 13 to 13.6 and just going to 4K, which is still not that different from the LF, which is only 4.5. A long way of me saying that's great. Like if you go to ISO 800, which I don't know if that's a native ISO on the Ursa Cine 12K, to be honest with you. It might be lower. It might be higher. We actually don't know. They didn't tell us. They didn't tell us what the base ISO is. So it actually could be more, and we don't know because I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's 13.6 if you're shooting at 4K open gate. LF shoots 4.5K open gate. Yeah, 400 on the 12K seems good for shot. I would have parked it at 400. I wouldn't have used 800. We are splitting hairs here. We're just hey, we're just talking. Hey, there's no, hopefully no one buys their camera based off this live stream. That would be ridiculous. The MA president of Blackmagic's company flagship Resolution Cine 12K will receive autofocus capabilities coming months via free firmware update. Greg, I have a question for you though. What mount are they going to be able to do this autofocus upgrade to? Because if it's PL lenses don't have autofocus. If it's EF, unless it's EF, unless it's EF. Huh. If they add autofocus, that's it. If they add autofocus, I'm gonna talk so much shit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be talking. It doesn't currently have contrast. Thomas, would you know what mount that would be on? Because I don't know. Like, what lens would you mount to it to have? Because the lens has to have autofocus capabilities to be able to do it. That's also very fair too, because it does use a different codec, which I wish they put in their other Sony cameras, but you know Sony. My problem with YouTube is I don't want to be on camera and I'm only charming to my dog. That's dependent on the day. That's hilarious. But also, like, you know what you could do? Just I think Cranky Cameraman does this very well, where he just posts BTS footage and he just voices it over, and you really don't have to. You don't have to talk to the camera per se. You can just kind of let it go on in the background. Or just have someone talk for you. That'd be wild if you had someone like talk for you, but like the character reveal doesn't happen for like 5 years. Kind of like how I didn't know what GX8 looked like for like 4 years. And I think he did like a thing without the robot helmet. And I'm like, it's like telling me Santa Claus isn't real anymore. Because now, like, I know now, the mystery's gone. I still love his channel, but like now I'm like, oh, well, now I know that's the, like, I wanted to believe he was a robot from like Ghost in the Shell. And now I realize he's a person just like me. Which is not a bad thing. It's just, you know. Super, hey, what's going on, man? Keep doing your thing. Respects. I will keep doing my thing. Especially because I've come to many epiphanies on this live stream. One of which is not caring about narrative filmmaking and just wanted to do hood rat shit with my hood rat friends. The Venice has much better real world dynamic range, not to mention the FX line has some internal noise reduction. The Venice, not so. The FX6, you could turn it off. That's the only, I think it's the FX6 and 9 you can turn it off, but the 3 and the 30 you can't. I heard from the DPs that their skill level is kind of dependent on the triangle with composition, lighting, and color. How true is that from your experience? 100% true. And like taste, I think should be like the fourth one, because you could have good composition, good lighting, good color, but if your tastes are bad, then like the other three, like the other three, kind of come up into taste. And I think also the other three are how you develop taste, like how you compose, how you light, and how you color things. Yeah, I think it's true. I think it's one that I could agree completely with that. We have a Venice. We have the Venice. Use it primarily in the volume wall. Venice is a known commodity. RE is a known commodity. You pay to real viability as much as visual. The Ursa 12K is extremely, extremely close. Yes, I could agree with that. I will say that because of industry changes, I think some people might open their horizons a little bit to what is available as it currently is. Because if I have to rent out an RE Alexa for $1,600 a day on a ready-to-shoot package, and an Ursa 12K is $1,000, there may be jobs where I don't want to spend the extra $600, and it only takes a couple people to shoot on the 12K and be like, oh, hey, you know what? This is actually kind of good. And then, you know, then the ball starts. It's the same thing with like the Sony FX line. The Sony FX line could have only been popular in the last 3-ish years because they only came out back then, right? So yeah, definitely there's a reliability and a brand aspect to some of the other companies, which gives credence to them being more expensive. But given how things are right now, I still think it's anybody's game because people will make different choices when their budgets are tight and their backs against the wall. Leaving left from the pocket 4K makes the image and show super clean. Yeah, I haven't used them. I just moved from the ZV-E10 to the FX30. Still want the Sigma 2.8, 18 to 35. Trying to wrap my mind around sitting mode. I feel like I'm sitting in class where everybody read the textbook without me. Silux Studio Audio, I don't know if you saw it already, but you probably might have. I think I did 2 videos on Cine AI in the FX3 and 30. Take a look at that. And if there's something you're not getting or a point that you're not getting, leave a comment. I'll be able to figure it out. Oh, that's good. Baby steps. If BMD cannot get a proper AF with a standard lens mount, look out. I'm telling you, the way that this industry is, and when like we're all generally accepting that like the high-end market is kind of dying down, work is slow, teams are getting smaller, the tools are getting cheaper. Someone eventually is going to look at the rental price between an Ursa Cine 12K and an RE Alexa, make a decision based on budget, realize that that decision is a good one, and then do it more often. Because that's what happened with Sony cameras. And also, there's a hair in my nose that is connected to my mustache, and I don't know how it got so long, but it's really itchy. And that's TMI for everybody. So what mega corporation do you think would buy Ari if they go bust? Sony. I don't think they'd use any of the stuff they have, but I think Sony would just buy them and you'd never hear about Ari ever again. Or they let Ari die. Or they let them die. Because, like, why would I buy a company if the products aren't selling, kind of thing? And what technology would I get from them if that's the case? Or Panasonic. Because keep in mind, yes, Lumix is not the biggest market share in terms of companies. Panasonic, as a company, though, has made a lot of batteries that everybody loves and has made a lot of money making a lot of batteries and maybe has the money to buy Ari if it's useful to them. I prefer the C400 over my FX6. Fair enough. Are you guys doing the creator swap and meet this year? Oh, for you guys that don't know, we do, myself, Chris Brocker, Sony Canada, we do like a giant garage sale every year at the end of the year. I just got word back on Friday that it's probably going to be February 2026. I don't know if you guys know this. If you're in Canada, the president of Sony Canada actually passed away. He had cancer, and yeah, Mark was a really great guy. I've talked to him a bunch of times, and yeah, he unfortunately passed away a little while ago. So I think a lot of the stuff that Sony Canada has been planning is getting pushed back a little bit after that. Try the XP image speed booster adapter with a Hasselblad Zeiss lens on the Ursa LPL. They used that setup recently on the new Jimmy Choo postcards commercials. Huh. All right, Thomas, what are you going to let me do? I got to shoot like 10. I got to shoot like 10 times with this camera, whether it be spec stuff, whether it be just clip farming or whatever it is. Let me get like a couple reps out the way. And we and you are going to have a conversation about these speed boosters. I don't know much about speed boosters, to be honest with you. So I'm going to look into that. Do you have a portable go-to charging block? I had one by, I think it was Ugreen, and I think it got rattled around on a flight and it no longer works. So currently, no. In regards to dynamic range, at a certain point, I'm more concerned with how the sensor rolls off. Yes. Depending on the scene, I'm fine with letting stuff blow out, but how it clips matters to me. Yep, I could agree with that. Because there's times where I just let windows blow out because I'm not going to fuss with it. Or there's just nothing interesting in the scene outside the window anyways. But if it's super harsh, I get that. I support that. Contrast AF on EF glass. Contrast autofocus? Nah, give me some phase detect, bro. Give me some phase detect, bro. Also, like, what EF lenses that have autofocus are coming out recently that, like, you would... I get it. It's the only one that could. But, like, I guess we're buying old Canon lenses. Actually, maybe not a bad idea. Filmmakers hyper obsessing over specs that are very similar to each other and basically splitting. Never. Yeah, no, it's funny. Yeah, it's an interesting part of the conversation. I like it where it is now because, like, yeah, we're having banter back and forth and everything's playful. It's when it gets to like the Weirdsville and everyone starts being crazy, and like almost like personally attacking each other that I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore. And I like it hasn't done that in this stream, which is nice. But God forbid you mentioned the S12 not overheating in your experience. Jesus. I could be wrong, but I believe Blackmagic said they're bringing autofocus to EF. That's the only one I think they could do it. I would love if they made an electronic L mount that goes on there. And I think they can't do it. I think physically you can't do it, but I guess I'll start looking at some. I guess if that's the case, y'all let me know some good EF autofocus lenses because we might have to make we need to put something in the side and kind of look at it for a bit. We were talking about gear video views versus technique process having a big difference last week. How do I feel about it now? Yeah, people are still like, I still will put out technique videos. I know they're not going to get a lot of views. Like the lighting videos I'm putting up every week, it's not going to get more than 2,000 views. I know it's not. but in that respect, I'm not going to necessarily make it hard on myself and like try to make this like big extravagant thing. I'm just going to break it down and move on. So that way, even if it doesn't get a lot of views, I don't feel that bad about it. But at the same time, it's like one pillar of content that like at least you could count on, and that might help support the brand a little bit with relatively less effort than a full scale 45-minute review on a camera. But yeah, I think the reason why that happens, and it's something that I'm starting to realize too, especially when I talk to people that like are outside of like this area of YouTube and that just kind of watch things topically to just either support creators they like or they like personalities and stuff. The technique stuff forces you to have to work when the video is done, right? So if I do a lighting video, how do you execute on the things that I said, right? And what you would do is you'd have to go out, you'd have to find lights, you'd have to find talent, you'd have to find a location, and you have to go and shoot it yourself or have someone pay you to go and shoot those things. All of that stuff requires extra work from you, which if I came to YouTube just to listen to some stuff, the last thing I want to listen to if I'm somebody that's trying to use YouTube as a form of escape is to hear some guy telling you to do more work after. So traditionally, yeah, the technique videos aren't going to do very well. Because less people they're not watching it for that, right? Like if you're going to YouTube, people just want to know, they want somebody that has similar interests to them and talk about those interests, which is why we'll talk about cameras. And if I make a camera video, we'll all chime in for 2 hours straight and we'll just be talking. Or if I talk about technique and stuff, that conversation gets a lot shorter because the people that are consuming it don't actually want to watch it or do those things after. They just want to have a conversation to escape work. Even people that are working in professional environments sometimes just want to watch the review and enjoy themselves. At least that's what's being told to me. Like there are people that I did not know in the production world that watch channels like mine, and they're just like, yeah, it's just a cool thing to watch. It's interesting, right? I don't necessarily want to leave a 10-hour set to come back and be like, oh shit, like I have to go and light stuff again. God, okay, cool, right? So yeah, the technique videos don't do as well. I'm still gonna do them. But I'm just not going to I'm not going to overcomplicate them because that way, then I'm not disappointed when they don't work out because they won't. Agreed. Alexa is the king for the new 12K sensor comes close. The S12 just got Alexa dynamic range 2, the new Cine D test, but that but the highlight roll off is terrible. Highlight roll off on the mirrorless cameras isn't as good as like an RE because I hope not. Log C so my deal with Lumix is they paid to license like almost a terabyte of footage from me because when that Log C came out, I rented an LF for like 4 days and I was just shooting like every day for hours trying to see if I can get it like 1-to-1, try to see where the breaks are, try to see when it's dynamic range off, on, all the other stuff. So I licensed a bunch of footage out to them. The color matching is very, very close. But in terms of like the special sauce that you get from an Alexa, it's different. It's just not, it's not $100,000 different. That's, yeah. Learning to write is much more valuable than having cameras. I will say yes to some regard. Like if you're weighing both of them. I have no interest in writing. I like taking other people's writings and making imagery out of that in a way that like I could emphasize my own tastes and how I like doing things, but I'm not a writer and I've come to terms with it. And I know that I like doing cinematography because I get more excited about spending like an hour and a half trying to get a single shot and nailing it than I do writing. I talk about shit. Do it with Charma's Uncle Kwame. I worked with Niger's NG's Uncle Roger character. Oh shit. Okay. Damn. We're wrong about the FX2. There's been a lot of positive videos on review in the past 2 weeks. I don't think I'm wrong about it. I don't like it. That doesn't mean I'm wrong. If other people like it, that's awesome. I don't care for it. Still. And also, my opinions are not indicative of what you guys should think and feel. They're just my opinions, to be quite truthful with you. I still don't like the FX2, and I don't think there's much you can say to convince me otherwise. I'd rather just have an A7C2 or an A7 IV or an FX30 and save money. Greg Fraser's apparently pushing to a feature on the 12K. Hey, so you're saying that my views are about to blow the frig up? Because the second that happens, I'm gonna just batch a bunch of videos and be like, this is the camera that Greg Fraser used on The Creator 2. I'm totally kidding, but not kidding. I probably would do that shit. Um, I just want to shoot sports stocks, man. Like I want to like I have a couple of athlete friends that like are just interesting people. And I'm like, I want to know why. Like I have one friend, he's a boxer and I think he's trying to go pro, but he owns a gym in Toronto. But he used to be a Disney Channel star. He used to be on iCarly and decided that like the stuff that was going on in show business, especially around like Disney and Nickelodeon, he's like, I don't want any part of that. And then decided to learn how to fight. And then I'm like, that's cool. That's a really cool story. Uh, I'll watch the hell out of the Greg Fraser film, but like, I ain't gonna do that. I don't have that. I don't have friends that are that nice to me that'll help me make a feature film. Do you think Roger Deakins can make a mini DV camera look better than a mid-level hobbyist with an Alexa 35? Probably, probably, probably. I mean, to be fair, probably because the mid-level hobbyist probably doesn't know what to do with an Alexa 35 to begin with. If they can get the camera on, it's a blessing. So like, yeah, maybe. You like win by default because the camera doesn't turn on. Best lens cam setup for low light, a camera with very high apertures. FX3, are there better options now? No, the FX3 is still going to be pretty decent. I think there is some argument about the S1II having better low light, but also like how low is low light for you? Like, are you talking like you need to go to 12,800 ISO? Because I've had the FX line for years, never actually needed it. I just needed to light better. But like you can get like the S12 has really good low light. The S1R2 actually surprisingly has good low light. I think there's a Canon camera that's actually pretty decent. FX3 obviously. A7 IV also has a really good low light too. There's a bunch of different options. And then the lens is just have something with a higher aperture and the focal length that you need. The higher the aperture, the better you're going to be in low light, more likely. We need context for that. I don't know what that means. Gobi told me he thinks the FX2 is the best camera 2025. Cam, if you're going to say foolishness like that, at least super chat me. I think Fraser's actually shooting a project out now on the 17K. It's on his Insta. Like I said, hey, everyone's going to say no one trusts Blackmagic in the industry. When push comes to shove and these budgets start choking up, these Ursas are going to look real pretty. They already, well, Soderbergh, I think, did a video on did a movie on the A9 II or the A9 III on a gimbal. I'm pretty sure it was on a gimbal. I could be wrong, but like, I'm telling you, the way that these budgets are going to start sinking and the way that these productions aren't going to have $200 million and maybe they'll have $75 million. Yeah, these Ursas are going to look real, look at me, like mighty fine. Very good though, to be able to put on the screen. And then everybody that said that you're not going to trust these cameras in the real world situation are going to find something else to be mad about. What Rec 709 LUTs do you use? Do you make your own or did you purchase from someone else? I use the FX30 currently. For the FX line for the Sony cameras, I made my own. That was just because from like using it for like a frig load of time. And then eventually I like nailed a couple looks that I've used before. And I'm like, oh, I have a little pack here. And then I sold them. So I don't think it's in the description, but I have LUTs for the FX line cameras or just Sony S-Log3 in general. And you can go look at those if you want to buy them. And if you don't, that's cool too. Can we use YouTube start campaign through standardized lens sizes across sensor size? I think we should get rid of the equivalency, full frame, and just say it's a 50 millimeter that covers APS-C. Honestly, yeah, if we all just had just full frame lenses. But also, I think the reason why is because like some of the like if there's like edge characteristics in certain certain mount sizes that might impact some of your decision making. But I would love if everyone just figure that out. Even just when Cine lenses come out and like one lens is a different filter thread than the other ones, it gets on my nerves. I hate it. That's one thing about like Nisi that gets on my nerves with the Athenas is that I love the 14 millimeter, but it's the one where I'm like, why are you guys like this? Why did you do that? And I think the Thighpox, is it Thighpoc or Typoc? I don't know how to pronounce it. They reached out months ago and I didn't answer, and I finally answered the email yesterday, which I feel bad about. But even them, I was like, hey, why does one of your lenses not be the same size as the other of the lenses? Why can't I just get one ND filter and leave it alone? Have you done a video on the FX2? Cam has no interest in that camera, and you will never see a video from Cam on the FX2. He will not touch it, just because he's not interested. And if you put things in front of him he's not interested in, he throws it and then throws a spoonful of his dung at you. Here's my dream camera. Blank. Good talk. I still have one. I could send it to you. Oh, what? You can send me the Ursa Cine 17K. I'll take that. I like it. Do you think camera tech is chasing looking quality of 35 millimeter, or is it beyond that now? I don't think it's chasing 35 millimeter film. I think it's something else that we just like. I don't know what you would call it, but I don't know if that's what they're chasing. I actually got it from. Hey, I met Shane at Cinegear. Nice guy, really nice dude. I also got into Filmmakers Academy like last week, and I probably log in like 2 hours a day. It's part of my making it part of my morning routine. So like I'll throw it on, do cardio, and then watch whatever's on there or whatever I've like curated to be my thing. Let's all agree that it's less about specs technically, but more company that gives us them at a most reasonable price. Hence, Lumix and Blackmagic in the days of greed are dying. I don't know if the days of greed are dying. Don't get it twisted, my senor. I wouldn't get it twisted. These people are trying to make some money. They want some market share. They want some money. Just like we do. Hey, just like this is the thing with like when everyone's like, oh, it's a business. I'm like, hey, so are we. If you're getting paid to do video or photo work, hey, we businesses too. So the things that what we want from other brands, people want from us. And if we're not willing to give it, you best believe these guys with billions of dollars aren't trying to do it either. But yeah, I think at this point in terms of specs, I'm cool right now. Like you have to understand how uninterested in potential new cameras I am right now after just picking up a Ursa and potentially going to see if I could get a Pyxis 12K from one of my local stores because I don't think they have a lot of pre-orders. And I'm like, I'm chilling, and everything else is like vibes. I like specs. I don't even care about anymore because like you got all of them. Like now it's just vibes. That's why I have this 50R from like 2018 with the same lens on it that I'll never buy. I don't think I'll buy a GFX lens ever. Because it's just vibes and it looks good and I like it and I'll shoot a lot with it if I like it and it looks good and it's vibey. And vibey is a weird way of explaining it, but that's the best way I could explain it. If you had one prime lens for the rest of your life, which focal length would it be? A 40 mil. Like if you give me like a 40 mil with like good micro contrast, good sharpness, but like crazy, like with like really tastefully swirled up bokeh in the background, but also has like a 200-ish degree focus throw, so I could hand barrel pull. I could pull focus while my hand, but also is like about the size of like the 35 millimeter Viltrox, but it's not too big, not too small. Yeah, all day long. Lighting videos are so much more useful than spec lists. Yeah, you would be surprised how many people don't show up to those lighting videos though. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing them. I have one for tomorrow, but again, I think what ends up happening is that cameras and specs and stuff like that become a universal interest part of the conversation that everybody could participate in, whereas lighting, only some people that even know how lights work can participate in. So even though it's more helpful, just less people do it because it sometimes feels like a conversation that people are having around you and not to you. Though Blackmagic is doing autofocus, thought Blackmagic is doing autofocus for L mount. We're looking at the Pyxis 12K for future proofing. The autofocus is the reason why. Yeah, so we're talking about the Ursa 12K. They don't have an L mount. It's E mount, PL, and LPL, and the autofocus for the Ursa 12K Cine is going to end up being an EF mount on the EF mount that comes with the body only, and then on the Pyxis it'll be on the L mount. So yeah, both are true. So yes, the Pyxis L mount will probably have autofocus at some future time, but when it comes to the Ursa, because there's no L mount on it, it'll be an E. But if they could figure out how to make an L mount for it, the best kit's the one that makes you money, which is, I made money on multiple different kits. All of them make you money, depending on positioning and like your own personal taste. Same, Kobe. We shot a commercial for a PC company laptop, and they love the Ursa Cine image. They always request the art. Also, yeah, man. It's weird. It's so funny because I remember, like, I worked with a supplement company for a few years actually. They were like, and it was a full time income, but not a full time commitment, which was really really nice. And I remember we used the FX line. We used the Sony FX line for like a while, and then I think I brought my 6K full frame to a shoot once, and like my client doesn't really know which camera is which. Like he's kind of familiar, kind of not. And he like sent me a screenshot. And he's like, "Hey, what's this?" And I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean?" He's like, I thought I was in trouble. And he's like, "No, no, like what camera is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, like it's not the Sony." I'm like, "Surprised you could tell the difference." And he's like, "I like this. Can we bring this to the next shoot?" And I'm like, I think it was a 6K full frame, which ended up being the Pyxis later, because I sold it. But yeah, man, you'd be so surprised. Like I think clients, especially with producers, I think producers, when you're like, "Oh, producers don't ask for a certain camera." I'm like, yeah, maybe because I don't know which one's which. I know producers that don't know anything about cameras. They just will request whatever was told to them last, and that's what they'll do. Um, when they get to see like it's hard because you have to like show it to them first, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I'd like that. Let's do that next time." That'll happen. But I don't even. Here's the thing. I don't even because literally my freelance work is now part time and YouTube is now full time, which is an interesting flip. I don't even know if I care about using the Ursa for client applications. I care about it for like stuff I want to do. Like I think Matty Apoya did a little bit of this where he got like an Arri Alexa so he could shoot stuff he wants to do, but I think it ended up in rental for most of it. I think he shot a couple things with it, but I haven't seen it very frequently. But also he took a break. Anyways, I digress. Um, I'm not using this camera to get client projects. I want to make that so clear, and it's probably gonna be my video. This is a purchase that I didn't actually need, but Kofia boy, I want it because there's things I'm gonna shoot where I'm going to enjoy what I'm gonna see at the other end of whatever is in front of that Ursa. So just so we're setting expectations. So if you think that I'm going to tell you how to become a wonderful, illustrious, chocolatey cinematographer working in the industry at a top agency, I'm not the guy. How much do you focus on sound in your YouTube content or client stuff that you handle post for? I've been hyper focused on average volume levels, multi-brand compression. So with a lot of the stuff that I've done for clients, which is super nice now, I'm at the point where I don't really edit my own stuff. Most of the time, there is a nominal fee for me to shoot, light, I crew up for that stuff. I send footage over, and then they take care of it. For YouTube, I've been using DaVinci Resolve's tools because it has like an AI audio treatment. It's hit or miss because sometimes, and I don't know why it does it, the audio just fades out randomly, and I have to like redo it, which is annoying. But I've just been using that and then making tweaks from there because it's like it gets you like 90% of the way there. Canon 7200 2.8 is one of the best EF lenses for the Ursa, better than any boring Sony zoom. Modern Sony zooms suck without the electronic compensations turned on. I've never turned them off, so I would never know. But I'm gonna start looking at some. I'm gonna start looking at some EF lenses. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start looking at some EF lenses to pick up. Oh, okay. So CSC Elic has his answer. Okay, 50K resolution. Jesus, 50 stops of real dynamic range, 100 mid. All right. How much money you got for that, my boy? Apple's making their own camera ecosystem with a new sensor. Patent tech makes sense for their own streaming platform. Are they? Or hang on, hear me out. Apple gets real close to Blackmagic, and they start sharing technology a little bit. I'd be curious to see that. I mean, to be fair, Apple could market the crap out of it. Like if they make their own mirrorless camera or their own cinema camera, they could just market the crap out of it because they have so much money. But like, it might be easier if they just offshore to a company they're already kind of working with. I heard from Cam Mackey that Kofi thinks the FX2 is the best camera 2025. Well, somebody put in the super chat, and I think it was Cam. So we're gonna read whatever he says. My advice given to me early on in my freelance career: yeah, the best kit that makes you money. But then also buy stuff for yourself. Like, make some money, and then if you make money and you say I want to buy a Beamer, I ain't gonna tell you to buy a Honda Civic to drive to work. That also to be said that, yeah, no, you should put your like working at your first and foremost. Thought I got a PayPal and I was excited. Hey, Abranil's in the building. What if you talk technique and your experience POV? That's not a call to action per se. Uh, Ninja, I do. Ninja products. I do have those videos. They typically get far less views than everything else. I still post them, but they typically get far less views than everything else. My mentor in college told me to learn how to write and it will become more valuable. He's 100% correct. I think just learning how to communicate probably is going to be a skill, whether it's written form or verbal. I think just learning how to communicate is going to help out. Trying to take my sound up, game and notch for at least quality. Yeah, DaVinci Resolve has a lot of tools that are like AI based now, which is helpful. It's like that's a helpful kind of AI, not the one where an ad agency makes an entire commercial and puts it on national TV. There, I said it. Table in the Kofi has no idea who Uncle Roger is. I don't. I don't, and I don't know how to help you. Hey, what up, Action? There's a market for almost any camera, even the FX2. There is. I don't know who Uncle Roger is. I don't. Someone explain. Even if there is, it's just not me. that's all I can say. Hey, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I couldn't tell you. That'd be amazing. Do you create less in DaVinci Resolve? Yes, almost exclusively. Actually, exclusively, not even almost. I only use DaVinci. I've only used DaVinci Resolve since the pandemic started. But yeah, I make my own LUTs and then I put them into my camera, which is going to be so fun because I'm going to be able to. I'm going to make what I'm going to do when. Oh shoot! What I'm going to do when the Ursa comes in is I'm going to spend about a week just grabbing stuff. I'm going to get some like sunrise cityscape, some some low light stuff. I'm going to get a bunch of stuff and then I'm going to start building LUTs based on like those things because it's going to be based around like what I typically shoot. And then it'll take me about like at least 5 months of just tweaking those looks inside of the camera. And then eventually I'll try to see if I could come up with like a Blackmagic pack or something. But yeah, I do. Totally. I do make my own LUTs all the time. Use the Cine 12K and 34C heat in Sardinia for 3 days straight, direct sun, zero problems, can vouch for reliability so far. Yeah, I will say, like, I have this, I didn't get the 8 terabyte module, I got the CFexpress module. So I have to be a little bit more cognizant of how I'm going to do things like the read write speeds in certain modes. But I checked it out. I have like my Angelbird cards are 800 megabytes sustained. I think that's enough. I think actually no, I think it's 1050, which I think is enough for most of the things I'm going to shoot. The only thing I heard about reliability was like dropped frames when you're using the wrong media. That's not the terabyte module. So, hey, okay, Cam did send a super chat, and it doesn't sound like it's crazy. What specs features does Sony have to do to get you to use a new release camera over the latest Lumix and Blackmagic cameras? Here's the thing. I don't think there is. Not enough for me to be like, screw my Lumix and Blackmagic cameras. I'm using a Sony camera. I mean, I guess if they decided to put like OCN RAW in a FX9, FX6 body with autofocus, I don't care about IBIS, but also have OCN RAW ST. Doesn't have to be the high one. Like a PL mount interchangeable with the E mount lens because E mount's pretty adaptable. Things like false color. And it'd have to be in a price point that's like around competitive to the Ursa 12K. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, there's not a lot. Like, there's so many. Again, this is what I mean about like when you buy. Like, it's like when you buy a Leica. Right, when you buy a Leica, there's not a lot of photo cameras you start looking at that have come out under it, right? Like if a new Nikon ZF comes out, it might be really cool, but there's like it wouldn't take you away from using your Leicas, and I think that's where I'm kind of at with the Ursa, where there's going to be things that are going to be really, really cool, but I don't know if it's enough for me to be like, let me put away the cameras that I have and use that full time instead. I think I'm past that point now. In Australia, they go to reality. Most commercial productions are being shot on FX9, FX6, FX3. There's a lot of hype around the Burano, but cost has turned most creatives away from it. Yeah, it's just because it's expensive. And in Australia, it's 47 grand Canadian. It's probably like 53 Australian. My S12 just overheated on a job. What mitigating things were you doing for helping mitigate the overheating, my dude? That's unfortunate, but like after 10 minutes in 4K, I need to understand, were you shooting bareback in front of the sun? Were you dummy batteried up? Were you writing to CFexpress card? What were you doing? Because there's a lot of things that you could use to combat that. But also, did you test it before? Like, I'm not engaging in the overheating stuff, but I do want to know the context, Francisco, because you are a cool guy. But I need more context than it happened. The industry has shifted so much. Videographers are viewed as the lowest common denominator, offer more than camera and lens, like pitches on campaigns. Even a videographer into commercial. Yeah, to be fair though, like I think the bleed is so much, and I think it's maybe because I've always been direct to client, and I've never really worked with a lot of ad agencies. Where like I would bring camera, lenses, lighting, crew. Sometimes I'm pitching my ideas and like I'm doing all that stuff, but like I'd still be flying around handheld on an FX3 rig or an FX6, which would some people consider like videography work. But at the same time, all the other stuff I still had to do, especially when I'm out of country and I have to like hire people from other places and do all the other stuff. So, yeah. Thigh pock. Okay. It's called thigh pock. Thighs out. Thick thighs. Chicken thighs. Your thigh pocks were stolen. Shoot. Damn, I'm sorry, man. My DZOs got stolen like last year. That sucks, man. I'm sorry. Blackmagic in an interview when introduced to Pyxis said that they will look into the Pocket series releasing their more expensive models. In terms of autofocus, probably. I just want to know give me an L mount that I can mount onto my Ursa. I'll be happy. Did you use Neat Video? No, I don't. DaVinci Resolve has its own built-in noise reduction, and it's quite good. People get mad at me, but I don't let anyone near gear, not a single person. Unless you're like on my crew, no, you don't. Like that's also why I'm super apprehensive when people are like, "Oh, can I borrow your?" Like I remember a lot of people asked to borrow like my Pyxis, and I'm like, absolutely the fuck not. Because if you bring that back in any condition that's not the one I gave it to you, there's nothing you can say that's gonna tide that over, even if I charge it to you. Because now, yeah, I might get a new camera back from insurance or you pay for it, but now I also have to deal with like I don't trust you to take care of nice things. So, and then also, yeah, it could get stolen. Speaking of 40 millimeter, I love that 1.33 times AF Sure. I've never used it. I haven't like Sure. Maybe they don't like me anymore. They never asked me, so I've never used them. Look, unfortunately, stills cameras are pushed for video. Never have correct fans for video. Though there's mitigating things on the S12 and S1R2. Like I literally have mine right here. So I got the dummy battery like hooked up right at the bottom here, so it'll help kind of take out a little bit of that heat generation. And I'm writing to SSDs if I know I'm on a longer job, and then you can still write proxies to an SD card, and that's how I'll roll if I'm gonna use it that way. With a 4 hour, I feel like you and Thomas had your own conversation, and I missed a thing. You have to imagine Blackmagic is working on new internal NDs, so they are finer, so they can use the L mount. I would like that a lot. Not long takes, but the camera uptime is very high. L mount has the same flange distance as RF, so it's possible. Ooh, I like that. Logan Rowland, when you use FX cameras, did you use Cine AI for running gun situations? Yes, I did. That's just because like I figured out how Cine AI worked, so it became a lot easier. Is there an ETA on the Pyxis bodies getting AF? I may have missed that info. No, there isn't. I think what's going to end up happening is I can only assume at minimum it's going to take the same timeline as Red getting their autofocus, where they have the autofocus beta in 2019 and they got full autofocus out of beta in 2024. So yeah, I wouldn't count on it being something that's like this year. But also Blackmagic, I think, acts a lot faster than like Red because they have more resources. I know an agency that tells clients they're bringing in RA, but just shoot on the C500. Hey, like I said, when we complain about brands and businesses doing things in order to ascertain some money, just understand there are people in the production world doing the same damn thing. Because it doesn't matter if you're black or white, it's the green that matters. That's also a cynical way of looking at the world. Don't do that. We told a client that we'd shoot on a Venice and brought the 12K. Cindy, the check cleared. Hey, like I said, man, like I said, these companies are here to make money. We're here to make money. And you know what? Sometimes people will ask for certain things because they heard it was good and not because they actually know the reason why they're asking for it. And that happens a lot. A lot of people will be like, I want a Venice on set, or I want an Ari. And you're like, you what you're saying is you want something that looks good, and you associate looks good with Ari or Venice. And that's what's going to happen. And that's a typical thing that happens. It's a fact of life. And it's a fact of business, right? And then they see it and they're like, oh, okay, like maybe we didn't need that and we could have saved some money. So like, yeah, of course we'll let you do that again. You almost gotta have like, sometimes you gotta take that risk and like just pull up with it and just be like, oh no, our Ari went down, so we brought this. Kofi, began photography earlier this year and I'm seeing that I need to incorporate video into my stuff. Any chance for newbies like me were to learn to begin the fundamentals? You know what? I don't know if anyone's put out beginner videos this year. Like a lot of them. I got you. Senora Vicky. I got you. Give me a couple weeks. Let me figure that out. I'm not a shy person, but I get nervous when I try to record outdoors. Any advice for that as well? Honestly, that is an acquired skill. You got to just rip off the Band-Aid. Senora. Yeah, rip off the Band-Aid. Just, you know what the worst part is with doing it outside. Like, I don't like shooting outside that much either. I like doing it in here. This is safe. It feels safe. But it's an acquired skill. There's no way that you'll be able to do it in a space where you're not just doing it. Like, it's just a thing that you kind of tune it out. Or when you're shooting outside, just like find places where there isn't a lot of people that'll look at you. But at the same time, like your exposure is still good. Or when you are filming on your own, if you can, like not necessarily when you're filming in public, bring a friend. Bring like one friend with you, and it'll help out a little bit. Chocolatey illustrations. I think you meant to spell illustrious. I think that's how you spell it. Yeah, we are magnificently melanated out here. Also, honestly, I think my first merch drop might actually put magnificently melanated. And if anyone steals that, I'll fight you. Thomas, thank you. That is perfect. Looking for a sub 10K camera that can go in type of heat. Sony works, but I want to turn raw. Yeah, APS-C, man, like I'm gonna throw down on these Ursa videos. I'm gonna pull up on these Ursa videos because like now that now we already talked about new directions and stuff like that, but Thomas out here doing the Lord's work, selling this. Hey, Thomas, you better reach out to Blackmagic and get your commission back after selling everybody on these Ursa 12Ks. Apple's gonna license Blackmagic sensors. I wouldn't even be surprised if you start seeing Blackmagic Apple cameras. Me and Michael Tobin are going to have a field day. You will see me in Ohio acting like we won the championship. APC photography, the fan noise on the Ursa 12K is pretty loud though, relative. DaVinci Resolve makes AI voice isolation. Problem solved. Apple applied for a patent on 20. Yeah, they did. They did. I just don't know if that's for a camera. Mr. Joey, it's different depending on the state you're in, which camera is popular amongst agencies. Yeah, that's also true too. I find a lot of like not Western world things, like if you're like not in like the UK, the US, Canada, maybe in Australia, I don't know. People care less about Sony the farther out you go. That's just something that I learned when I was in Ghana. Like people didn't like, they knew about Sony cameras, and people knew about like Sony mirrorless cameras, but not really many people cared about like the FX line. If that makes any sense. I'm sure it's different now because I had gone like almost 2 years ago, but Kofi. Gary's in the building. I feel bad because like I know it's not Gary, but like Brandon got us calling you Gary, and that's how we. Did you see F1 or Superman yet? No, I have not. I haven't, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go see them this week, and no one spoil it for me, or I'll be so mad. Hang on. I'm used to loud fan do the Ninja 5 Hollyland Pirate. Yeah, the fans are loud. It's gonna be. I'm always using Lava and Stop. Also, like if you use the what's it called? Not the DJI, the DaVinci Resolve like audio isolation, voice isolation stuff. It's actually pretty solid. Practice helps, and remember, no one wants you to fail. They're on your side. That too. That's good advice, Greg. That's dope. 20 stops is all we can do, especially if you know how to color grade or built-in LEDs. 20 stops is too many stops. That's so many stops, bro. That's so many. There's so many stops of dynamic range in one camera. I think it's going to be for the immersive, or like a version of the immersive. Because I don't know if you'll ever be able to. The 20 stops might actually not look that great. It might look weird. I'm buying a 12K. I'm keeping my FX3. Decent. I bought my 12K already. I don't know when I give these Lumix cameras back. I'm always scared of like, I go somewhere, like I'm not in the country, and they're like, hey, by the way, here's a return label, like run it back. I don't know anymore. Hey, JT, what up? Chat vote Leica R, CanFD, Olympus, OM, and Y. Leica R's. If I'm putting my vote in. Oh, Francisco, I know you're not. I know I'm not. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be like an affront at you or anything like that. But I do like when I mean give me context, it's so I can tell Lumix, because I think one of the things that they express with a lot of the overheating things is that they need to know the parameters so they can fix the problem. Or if there's like whatever you were doing may have caused an issue with the overheating. And I know that's not something everybody wants to hear, but if we focus on the solutions, and we could figure that out. That wasn't necessarily to be like, oh, you're talking about overheating, like stop that. I'm just mean in terms of like the noise and the mess around that I don't want to participate in, but we've talked before. I just want to make sure that what happened to cause the problem, I know what caused the problem, so we can fix it. The go-to lenses if you're not needing this any glass. Please forgive me for this, but the absolute justification of the S12 overheating due to card, battery, or rig wrong is a Sony studio. We never get those excuses. Now we have the FX series. Lumix doesn't have an FX series, and damn sure those cameras overheat. All non-FX cameras overheated a ton. So yeah, if Lumix has an FX series, and yeah, you like if a cinema focused Lumix camera overheats, then yeah, that's a distinction we can make. Did people compare it to the FX3? Yes, because things that are on paper are a better offering, but it's still a hybrid camera at the end of the day. So for a hybrid camera, yes, you'd have to make mitigating factors in order to do so. But there currently, as it stands, there is no cinema line for Lumix at the moment. So two different lines. It's the same comparison between the S12 and the FX3 that some people had made is kind of the same thing that we're talking about with the Arri Alexa Mini LF and the Ursa Cine 12K. It's a cheaper camera. On paper, does a lot of the same things. There's going to be caveats between the two of them. But for the price point that it is, if your use case doesn't fit into the things that it needs to be, then it's a good deal. And I think that's still, those two things are valid. Overheating is annoying, but it's not the first camera to do it. It's not the first $3,000 camera to do it either. And there currently isn't a video focused cinema line for Lumix either. So there's no parallel to make there. Again, that respectfully, I'm not saying that I'm just addressing what you said. I've got the Sigma Cine full frame Blackmagic Pyxis ready for small documentary. Hey, get after it then. That'll be cool. Thomas for photo, Nikon, I bleed cold. Hey, Greg says he's a diehard Nikon. Also, hang on, Greg. You can't bleed gold and be in Guelph at the same time. Gotta be that red and gold. So basically, I didn't realize that there was a thing about the S1 II overheating. I love the camera. I was on Type B, but then swapped to the SSD and it overheated again. It was an extremely hot day. Francisco, did you have your heat settings on and the fan settings? That's what I meant. I don't necessarily mean the cards. If your heat setting was set to standard and not high, and I think fan can go on fast or auto too. I can't remember. That's the information that would be helpful, because that way it helps out with, hey, I could just go and say, hey, Sean, like this happened to this person, and these are the parameters in which that had happened. Where does the Rex Moto X fit in this conversation? Wherever you want it to fit. If you want a global shutter camera that costs as much as the Ursa, that's Super 35, have at it. It's not that it doesn't fit. It's not that it's not welcome in the conversation cinema cameras. It's just, again, going all the way to, like, the readout speed on the Ursas are so fast that I'm like, I'll take a camera that has a larger sensor and readout speeds that are couple milliseconds slower, and a larger sensor and color science that I really like, and all the other stuff. Yeah, okay, I'll do that all day long. How's the experience using Cine EI? Which monitor do you prefer to use to get the best color representation? I've used this Ninja 5 since I got any FX line camera, and it has kind of been the only monitor that I've used for my Sony cameras, and still, this is actually one of the one piece of gear that I think never left the house. Like, I've bought and sold a whole bunch of stuff. The Ninja 5 has stayed there. I wouldn't say it's the best monitor ever, but it worked. But my experience with Cine EI is, like, I just learned, like, when I learned how to use it, I just used it for everything, because it was much easier, and I didn't have to, like, there wasn't a lot of like guesswork, because when you know how to use Cine EI, like, you just don't. It's kind of an instinctive thing, and it makes your life easy, and you have to change it a lot less than you think you do. Fantastic camera system, getting close to Ursa 12K, frame rates, res, combos, much smaller body, just startup times, color puts me off. I think you're talking about, the Komodo X. Yeah, the Komodo X is fine. Like, I had it. I had one. And then I sold it. By the way, you could have potentially good documentary material with a military corporation between Ghana and the Ukraine in military drone tech. Philip, there are familial things that has to do with that type of drone tech where, yes, but I'm not going to. And that's all I'm going to say. What does RF mount? I'm curious. What does RF flange mount distance have to do with anything? What did I miss? The Sydney 12K comes. I'm PL, EF, and LPF, not RF. Almanax, he's talking about the flange distance on the RF as a way of potentially Blackmagic making an L mount, because the flange distance with the RF flange distance and the L mount flange distance are close. It may stand to reason to be able to make an L mount for the Ursa Cine, so when they do autofocus, they can do it. I've been kitting up my FX series to look larger to make clients comfortable. I did a video that I haven't put out yet, but it's on like how to feel more or make yourself more expensive to your clients. And as much as people hate it, as much as I might not agree with it personally, a big camera rig does it. They feel comfortable when you bring out a large camera with all the fixings on it and stuff. And it doesn't necessarily make you more money, but like when you do charge a lot and you show up, they're like, oh, okay, that's why we did it. The results are amazing with Sony, Canon, and Lumix. Smaller cameras look as big as the client want. Yeah, and the whole thing is choice. I think some people don't like rigging out your small mirrorless camera, but the whole thing is about choice. The ability that I can do that if I want to, not necessarily that I have to all the time. Lenses can change the entire look. These days, it's enough. On big commercial shoots, companies are on the side of caution and use those tools that are known and reliable. Yeah, there's still credence to those things. NMMN I will say though, there's going to be a time where like push is going to come to shove on some budgets, and people are going to make some decisions, and there's going to be new tools that people are going to try out for the first time. And when they figure that out, you know what? I'll even give you an example. Hollyland. Hollyland's a perfect example. Everyone was on Pterodax. Everybody, I'm not touching a Hollyland because it's not Pterodac. I'm not touching a DJI transmission because it's not Pterodac. It's not like everything is compared up to Pterodac. When the cost of Pterodac is the way that it is, and smaller budgets push you against the wall, and you can't rent out a Pterodac system or you can't buy one, you start to try other stuff. And when you find out the other stuff isn't half bad, to make its way into the market. And cameras might be the same way. Hey, we got a super chat from Brian. Thank you, Brian, for the super chat. Are you using a Promise filter right now? Looks a bit dreamy. I'm thinking about adding some glow filters for live stream content for beauty brand. Not sure if it's too much in a broadcast environment. Yeah, you might want to go with this like a real subtle thing. Like I have Opaline 1/8, but right now I'm using the Short Stash Everyday filter, which is like a quarter, I guess, diffusion with a circular polarizer. So that way, my skin tones look nice and chocolatey. Thank you, man. I can't wait for this video to drop. Much love from Houston. Hey, I was just in Houston. But yeah, so you know what? I might have some like beginner videos. It might be taught on a bigger camera, but the concepts are still going to be very much the same. So maybe we'll do that. Almanacs, if you know kind of thing. Magnificent Melanin is that uncomfortably gorgeous 85mm close up that where the chat we're collectively counting Kofi's pores. When I get the Nisi Aureus lenses again, we'll do an 85mm stream again. I'm out. Got to talk to you. Hey, take care, man. I will get the video to you tonight. I won't forget. I decided to live stream today because I'm done everything I need to. Been using, yeah, APS-C, like APC. I keep saying I want to say APS-C, but there's no S there. That voice isolation, and it gets better too. Like it gets better every single time I update my DaVinci Resolve. But if you use cameras with really big fans or really loud fans, worth a try, and oftentimes it works really well. I am Nick Friend. Actually, it's a YouTube question. This is cool. Sorry, I'm really itchy. Asking for some YouTube advice. So I want to go from 5,000 to 50,000 subs on YouTube. What's the first tactic or piece of advice that comes to mind? I would say my biggest subscriber growth is from finding things that other people weren't doing and just doing those. And I don't mean, and this is something where like I'm going to give a piece of advice. If you guys are going to start filmmaking channels, I will say a long-term solution to growth isn't to reaffirm your professional prowess to the rest of YouTube, because they don't care. But what they do care about is the value of information, the quantity of information. So one of the things I noticed when I started doing YouTube is that a lot of people had done the embargo video, then you never saw a follow-up, like not even like one follow-up afterwards. So what I would do was I would make playlists of cameras, and I was using them for work, so it was easier. So I would make no less than 5 videos on a particular system, putting it through paces, environments, rig builds, like all that other stuff, right? So that at least there's like a little mini playlist every time you watched them, every time there was a new camera system that was out. And that helped out a lot, because what ends up happening is that if you try to compete for views on the embargo stuff, you'll just lose to the bigger creators. They have better SEO. They have a track record of being there. You're fighting an uphill battle. But if you're the one that has the follow-up video that's after the fact, what ends up happening is by the time they see like the 8th video, they'll go back and watch the other 7. And a lot of you guys that are in the chat now, if you've watched one of my FX30 videos, you probably watched the other 58 that are there. So stuff like that is just like finding an avenue where like you don't necessarily have to compete in, but it's still in the same conversation, helps it a lot. I need to learn DaVinci. I've gotten into Blender and Unreal for months. DaVinci is next. It's a lot easier than you think. The node system's a little bit weird. Node system's a bit weird if you've never experienced it before, but you'll get it. It's actually not as hard as you think. And glass is 70% of a look. Glass can make a good sensor look bad and a bad sensor look good. Like I did my favorite shot out of doing the Lumix Ari Log C stuff that I did for Lumix was, I think I shot an 85mm Aureus lens on the S1 2E. And that was, when I showed that to people, like I was like, oh, like which shot do you think is the Ari? And everyone thought it was that one. And I'm like, nope, that is the cheapest camera of the 4. and that's just good glass. Last point, they should bring out an S12X with a bigger body and just solve the issue. It'll be most people's perfect camera at that point. I am not going to say anything. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to shut up because I can't give you my thoughts. I'm not trying to get sued. So you're welcome. I was given advice for public speaking. Remember, they are on your side and they want you to succeed. Also, become best friends with the hide from channel button. I think it comes down to the creator. Can people connect with you? Kofi is a laid back and chill, and that's a good presentation. I talk quickly and sound like a crackhead for no reason. You think I don't talk quickly, bro? The amount of people that are like, hey, I put this, they're the only person on YouTube that I actually turn the speed down. I talk fast, but I lean into it. But man, you'll find it. The thing is, you'll find a way how to do it. If that's what you want to do. That's one of the biggest things, right? Like if you want, I don't recommend somebody doing YouTube if you are not inherently interested in making YouTube content, because what will end up happening is that when things get tough, you will find every excuse to quit. Kofi, I'm ready to invest in some lights if you're doing a beginner video, love some recommendations plus how to light some sweet scenes. Maybe I should get cam lights. I will be traveling soon. I love how we all just call them cam lights now. we all just agree that that's what they're called. I am going to start doing some beginner lighting stuff. I have a lighting breakdown tomorrow from a little spec commercial I helped my friend do. And there was times where I screwed up, and I'll be talking about that tomorrow. But we could talk about some beginner lighting stuff. I think that'd be cool. There's a couple of different ways you can go too. Yeah, changed it in Auto 1. If I remember correctly, it's Auto 2, which is going to help you out a little bit more with the heat dissipation. It's like Auto 2 and high. Auto 2 and fast, I think, are probably the easiest two to use in hot days. Overheating has only been present in photography cameras that have the ability to shoot video. Lumix and others should follow Sony in the same place sensor and put in a body light fixie with proper fans. Mr. Joey, like I just said earlier, I ain't gonna say nothing. I am not gonna say anything. I am not trying to owe nobody no money. So, do you think a reasonably sized f1.8 24-70 will ever come out? No, because wide aperture zoom lens and reasonably sized cannot coexist. You might not even get two of those things. You want a 1.8, 1.8 and a 24-70 would be huge. And it wouldn't be cheap. It'd be super expensive. Garrity, any 300, 600 watt cob light with Bose mount to have most flexibility in light modifiers. Yes, that's a good start. I think I'm gonna dive a little deep into that because I have a couple ideas. Also, you're gonna when you start getting into using fabrics, they're inexpensive and they can make a world of a difference. But we'll get into that a little bit. I still gotta buy a couple more. I gotta buy some magic cloth, but we'll talk about lighting and stuff like that and how to get the most out of it and still not have to pay a lot of money. But yeah, that's a good call. I need someone to come up with an industry camera drop test. Blackmagic will fare badly. Hey, you know what? They said they're gonna give you a camera for sub $10,000. They didn't tell you it was gonna be indestructible. Hey, don't do that. Just make sure your insurance is good, bro. In hindsight, do you think the Komodos were way overpriced when they came out? No. I mean, any camera is going to be overpriced if you look at the price point versus the market 5 years later. Except for the FX3. I don't know what Sony, whatever juju magic Sony been huffing on, which is actually just called influencer marketing. They're like, hey, that Sony FX3 is not going down in price. We ain't leaving. We're leaving at the same damn price. I don't care what other camera comes out. We're leaving at the same price. We don't care. Yeah, I don't think so. In hindsight, I think Red had been one of those companies. They made really good cameras. They made them smaller. And at the time, there wasn't a camera that was in that category, that size and that price point. So I don't think they were badly priced. And I mean, breathe, take purposeful breaths, slow down. You know what? I feel like Greg should start calling people when they make YouTube videos so that way he could coach them. I don't think about how lucky I was. I just laugh about it because I'm like, the way that people lost their goddamn minds when I made that video about switching from the Komodo X to get the Pyxis. People I legitimately got threatened by somebody. Um, People got really, 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 really mad. And when I sold and the price went down, I'm like, so I don't think I'm lucky. Just every time someone brings it up, I just laugh. So I still feel like there's a way that you can do this if you want to do YouTube. This is again, if you actually truly want to do it, faceless channel. Except when it's a faceless channel, you just put your own footage, and that ends up being it. And if you don't want to talk, it's someone to talk for you. They'll never know. Need a stream where everyone can send their work and review. Soften the camera top will be super fun. That is going to be a members only type of deal. That's going to be a members only. That's for the. I actually got 3 tiers. I actually think I called them the nephew tier, which is just like $5 support tier. I got the Unk tier, which is in the middle. That's where you're gonna get the Q&As, the live stuff. And then the footage tier, where once a month I'm gonna do a Dropbox and drop off raw footage of any lens reviews and stuff that I got for the month. That's gonna be on those. I have a face for radio and a voice for novels. That's crazy. That's crazy. Don't say stuff like that. Hey, you know what? I'm not putting that comment up. Nope. I'm going to LA soon. I'm interested in the Nikon ZF. I know you have one, right? Would you recommend it for photography and filming some stuff? I was thinking about buying a Blazer Beetle with it. Yeah, actually, no. The Nikon ZF still has still 4K, still a 4K 10-bit image, still really decent. I'm gonna skip a couple of these. I didn't realize I've been streaming for 3 hours. I just started shooting sports with the A7 III, looking to upgrade. Should I get an A7 IV, wait for the FX2? I shoot more sports videos than videos. Sorry, I shoot more sports than videos. I shoot more sports videos and photos. Based on the rumor mill at the moment, I just wait a couple months and see what happens. Maybe if you're gonna make a purchase, do it at the end of September and just see what happens. Unless it's burning a hole in your pocket and you have a job that's paying you that needs you right now, just ride it out for 2 months and see how it goes. If you're so right, purchase Holiday and S used the mid 5-figure gala for iMatch. And it's incredible look, no lip sync issue. The tear deck failed in the same situation. That's because tear decks were expensive for no reason. Sometimes the way that tear decks had done me dirty on sets, at least 4 separate times, the tear deck's just like, no, we're not working today. But yeah, again, that's as much as we're talking about industry standards and loyalty in the industry and all this other stuff, we're also talking about an industry, if we're going to be completely honest, it's on fire, figuratively speaking, and also an industry that is changing. And when a lot of people have said no one's going to use Blackmagic, so they'll never use them on real sets or whatever the case is, or they won't be used as much as Ari's, or people aren't all that other stuff. I live near 9 rental shops in the city of Toronto. 5 of them got Ursas, 12 and 17s. 5 of them. People that see productions all the time. 5 of them out of the 9 bought Ursa 12Ks and 17s. Somebody's going to use them, and someone's going to enjoy them, and they're going to get more popular, especially because not everyone's going to think about it this way. I could either rent an Alexa for a week and a half or buy an Ursa Cine 12K. I haven't tried. Oh, you guys are talking about the Holland stuff. Reaffirming your personal prowess. They don't care. Very true. We don't. Cypher, just show us. We don't really care how you know. We only care that you could prove it. Brandon, that is exactly where I've been at, kind of thinking about the last couple of days. Because I used to do photography for fitness magazines, and it went to print back when the final years of when print was actually impressive and paid for. And I watched a lot of Manny Ortiz. And he talked a lot about portrait lighting and being able to use the Godox 8200. And I had like 6 of them. At no point watching his videos where I was coming up in the photography game in terms of like shooting with like fitness and shooting with athletes and stuff, did I ever wonder if he did professional work. I never cared. But the information was good. And then I was able to use that information to help me make money. I didn't care about where his accreditation was. I didn't care about what his credentials were, or whatever the case is. It never occurred to me. Similarly, I'll do a lot of events for Sony Canada, and I'll do a lot of things and like around just I'll do a lot of workshops and a lot of paid workshops with different brands. No one actually cares that I don't have IMDb credits because I've never put that as a thing that's going to enhance my brand or the why you should listen to me kind of thing. Because they care about the information being good and information they could utilize. So to that point, yes, you just if you are going to start a channel or whatever, especially in this space, I don't need you to tell me how professional you are. Just show me. Just show me what you're doing. And it doesn't have to be an award-winning thing, right? And I think a lot of filmmakers can benefit from understanding that people don't necessarily care what you do as long as it benefits them. And oftentimes, yeah, you can have all the credits in the world, but like if you're still hard to watch, you're not good at communicating, or if you're kind of a dick, it's not going to work out for you. And then you'll continue wondering why, because you're like, well, where are my opportunities? I'm this professional that works in this industry. And you realize that you're one of your primary responsibilities is the ability to communicate information that's useful for people, not to tell them how much of a professional you are. Kofi feeling the NDI monster biting his toes. It's not biting my toes, it's biting me in my ass, bro. There's a fair amount of advice suggesting YouTube Shorts for growth. Thoughts? Depends on what kind of growth. Not all growth is good growth, depending on what your goals are. If you want your subscriber number to come up, I think it's easier to do shorts still, maybe. But it doesn't necessarily mean that subscriber is going to be someone who's going to tune into your long form or click on your affiliate links or help you convert when you do get those brand deals, because I see that vanity metric come up. So not every subscriber is going to be treated the same. Looks like you need to start a beginner channel. I thought about that, and I also thought about just leaving it on this channel, and I haven't decided which one I want to do yet. It would have to be something where like maybe I do it, like I batch them and I do them all at once and just get out of the way. But yeah, I think I should start doing beginner videos. I really feel like people still see a lot of value in that. And I feel like sometimes I don't give it a fair shake. Like I'll do one and be like, it didn't do well, so I'll never do it again. But I think if I do like 5 of them, it'll probably work out. I'll try the dummy option. Yeah, give that a shot, Francisco. There's a couple of different ways you can mitigate overheating in a mirrorless camera, especially because like if you're not in a super hot day and you're in shaded areas, like you're probably not going to have overheating. And there's a lot of things the camera still offers despite overheating. So if you still want those things, then you just accommodate for when you're in compromising situations. What ecosystem would you go in if you had to start your film career? Blackmagic. No. No. Like if it's today, if it's today and I'm starting, I would still do Blackmagic Sony. Because I wouldn't, like if I'm starting, I don't have the money for an S1 II and S1 R2. Which film fan would you go to? What's that mean? I don't know what that means. What was your inflection point of calling yourself a full-time YouTuber? What was it that made you officially pull the trigger? When I made enough money on YouTube that I started saying no to more client projects and saying yes to them. Or just when I had the intention of doing it full time. Because at a certain point, like especially when like brand deals and affiliate links are coming in, the very real realization that I'm working on a client project that I don't care about, or I could make a video that I do care about and get paid exactly the same, you start taking on less client stuff. Because you're like, well, what do you start wondering why you're there. Like that actually that happened to me a couple times on set when things started really ramping up. I was doing a Google ad shoot, and I was just standing there and I'm like, what? Like I'm getting paid less per day than doing a video for say Artlist. And I don't necessarily, it's not even like I hate this set. I just could be doing other things with 10 hours of my time. like making that video and still have time left over. And once I came to that realization, I'm like, okay, well then how many times do I shoot a month? And can I get to like 80% of that doing brand deals, but also have 70% more time? And then you just, as soon as that starts happening, you're like, okay, cool. Then and this is what I mean about like not having to reaffirm my professional standing or anything like that, is that at what point are you still doing freelancing to impress other freelancers? And at what point are you starting to build a business for yourself? Because at the end of the day, if all the freelance stuff goes away, it's not like other freelancers are going to have your back. Members only makes you think you're starting up an OnlyFans. I am definitely not. You do not want to see that. It's the channel memberships. I don't know how to I don't know how to link to them. I just know they're there. Yeah, it is YouTube membership. A lot of things I'm going to put on YouTube because I don't have time to do Patreon. I tried doing Patreon. I hate it. Yeah, but use for channel. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah, if there's any feedback on them too, like I'm open to it because I don't know what to do for YouTube. Like I know I'm going to put content out for it. I just don't know what I'm going to do with them. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Watch Kofi's lighting video tomorrow. Yeah, man. Thank you. I'm going to try my best to do them every Monday. Every single Monday, we're going to do a lighting video. Also, we're at the end of the comments, and it's been 3 hours. I think I'm going to go to bed soon. Not bed. It's 5 o'clock. Hey, friend, use the new link feature on Shorts with 2 shorts than 2 long form because it's effective for many out there. Yeah, you could use Shorts to long form too. That works. I'm not a big Shorts guy, and I probably should do that more. And now that I've deleted almost every other social media app but YouTube, I just have YouTube and Instagram now. X, deleted it. Threads, I'm never going back to that place again. TikTok, don't care about it enough, deleted it. Delete them off on my phone. If they get hacked, they get hacked. I don't care. Anyways, yeah, you could do that. You could do that way. Hey, no problem, man. Yeah, but try Auto 2. Try Fan Mode Auto 2. And then try dummy battery. If you're going to use SSDs and stuff, you probably are going to have a lot better improvement on the overheating. But yeah. Madasa Kofi D. Yeah, go to Almanacs. I don't know if you're Ghanaian or not, but that was pretty good. Yeah, no, APC, that's what I meant. I was agreeing with, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I keep wanting to say APSC, and I know there's no S there, and I'm staring at it. But anyways, yeah, I'm out of here, guys. Thank you for everyone that sent super chats. Thank you, dislike bots, for not ruining the stream. Thank God. This has been 3 hours. If you guys want to check out the channel memberships, go for it. If you guys feedback for the channel memberships, because I don't know what I'm doing on them, I just decided to make them for fun, and because YouTube kept giving me a notification. APC is my son's initials. Ah, fun fact. Okay, cool. I shoot mostly cars and combat sports. I don't know what to do sometimes now that I started YouTube. What's good advice on making sure stuff isn't repetitive? Here's the thing. Make them repetitive. Make them repetitive. Make them repetitive in a way that I could follow what you're doing, not in the sense that you're making the same video over and over again, if that makes any sense. Dislike bots, hey, fuck, now I'm doing extra innings now. Yes, dislike bots are a thing. Sometimes they come through, and then like every 35 seconds, somebody would dislike the video. And then when the video gets posted, they all disappeared 2 days later. So that's been a thing. It's happened a couple times. It's actually particularly only when me, Cam, and Terry are streaming together. So I don't know what's happening there, but yeah. Okay, now I'm going. Now I'm going to go. And if I don't click this finish button, I won't leave. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.